got primaried. He lost. He's going to be out. Jasmine Crockett, she lost. She's out. James Tallarico, of course, there's this whole controversy going on about how, strangely, Jasmine Crockett's accusing the Republicans of cheating, even though she got cheated by the Democrats and Colbert, which is weird. But the big news we're all excited for is that Brandon Herrera has won in Texas's 23rd district, beating out Tony Gonzales. However, not by enough. So it's going to go to a runoff. But when you look at the hard numbers, Brandon Herrera has won. Just didn't clear 50%. So the expectation is he's likely going to win, especially because the Republicans are launching investigations of Tony Gonzales. More information coming out about the staffer he had an affair with who immolated herself and died. I mean, it's an absolutely crazy story. So we got a lot to break down as it pertains to these elections. Apparently, there's one election, I guess, where a leftist Muslim woman won the Republican primary because she was unopposed. And it's pretty embarrassing for the Republican Party. So we'll talk about that. Plus, war stuff. The first sinking of a ship by submarine since, I think, World War II. Everybody's talking about that. And another crazy story in these elections. A man who is currently facing criminal charges, accused of murdering the man who raped and kidnapped his daughter. He won his primary. And everyone's just like, basically everyone on the right sitting back and going, yup. They all voted for him probably. But when you actually look at the story, it sounds just like self-defense. And a lot of people are trying to make it out to be like this guy, Liam Neeson style, hunted down this guy. It seems more like self-defense. So we're going to get into all that. We got a lot to talk about, my friends. Before we do, we got a great sponsor for you. It is PDSdebt.com. My friends, go to PDS.com/Timcast. Check it out. You see the headlines, read the stories, then the impact shows up in your own numbers. Balance is rising, fees piling up. That's when it's time for PDS Debt. Minimum payments are designed to stretch debt out for years, and PDS Debt has already helped hundreds of thousands reduce what they owe and take back control. Whether you're struggling with credit cards, personal loans, or medical bills, PDS Debt has custom options to help you get out of any debt. They go beyond the numbers to understand your unique financial situation and craft a personalized plan designed just for you. There is no minimum credit score required. They're here to help you save more, pay off your debt faster, and start putting money back where it belongs in your pocket. They are A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, boasting thousands of 5-star reviews on Google, and they hold a 5-star rating on Trustpilot. Why? Because PDS has helped hundreds of thousands of people get out of debt. Every month you wait costs you more in interest and fees. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is right now. When the numbers are clear, act. Take back control in 30 seconds. Get your free personalized assessment and the best option for you at PDS.com/Timcast. And also, my friends, big news. Pool water by the can. If you ever wanted to drink pool water, don't. Something's probably wrong with you. But if you want to drink Pool brand water, it's delicious Virginia artesian water. And now by the beautiful plastic inner-lined cans. I'm pretty sure the cans are lined with plastic. I'm not 100% on that one. I do need to ask Steam, but I'm fairly certain. Basically, like every bottle, like every can, aluminum or otherwise, is lined with plastic to prevent corrosion. And so people are all asking, like, Tim, do the cans have plastic? And I'm like, oh, yeah. Even the cap does. I'm not going to lie about it or pretend there's not. It's just a reality. So if you want to buy bottled canned water, you can, and it's got plastic in it. We're gonna check the math, but I'd imagine the amount of plastic in our cans, for which they are likely lined, would be comparable to liquid death cans, which are also plastic lined. Anyway, smash the like button, share the show with everyone you know, subscribe to this channel. Joining us tonight to talk about this and so much more, we got Adam Salinas.
Thank you so much for having me, man. My name is Adam, and I go by Grace Unfiltered on all of my social media platforms, and I appreciate you for flying me in, man.
Right on. What's your thing? What do you do?
So I have a platform that we talk faith, politics, and kind of, news around the world, and it all started, kind of back in 2014. I mainly talked about faith, and when I had all of these individuals that I had met over the years, I started to ask me certain questions about some of the propositions that were coming into law in the state of California. Instead of answering the same question 20, 30, 40 different times, I started doing a post about it, and now we're here,
Right on. Yeah. We got whatever this is.
That's how I feel every morning I wake up to. I was inspired by all the hat wearers in the house.
I think you were just inspired by Guns N' Roses.
Carter's the only one not wearing a hat. I'm heavily inspired by Appetite for Destruction, by the way. If you don't know the album, get it. Have you heard it?
Probably.
Oh, dude, it is the best. If you want to know where rock and roll came from, why the 90s were awesome, listen to Appetite for Destruction. It is the answer. And you can follow me at Ian Cross. And I also want to shout out Alex Stein's Big Booty, what is this called? Big Booty Latina Love Potion. I'm drinking it right now. It's excellent. It's Casper's newest coffee. Spectacular. It was so good that I had to bring it in and do a post of my own about it. So go get it at casper.com if you haven't yet.
Alex Stein is not a doctor.
Alex Stein, yeah, it says this is actually guaranteed to spice things up in the bedroom, but also there's a caveat that it is not guaranteed to spice things up in the bedroom.
I'll say I feel a little tension in the table right now because you're sipping on that. It's interesting.
It's getting like.
Well, it's all guys in here, Tate, so I don't know what you're thinking.
Jeez Louise. Anyway. That's why I throw the hat on when like we're getting too close to like I need to get a haircut. And then the hat just stays on.
Your beard looks nice today.
I don't know what's like. Everything's getting wacky and wild. Phil's just raw dogging the show right now.
Hello, everybody. My name's Phil Levanti. I'm the lead singer of the heavy metal band All That Remains. I'm an anti-communist and a counter-revolutionary. What's up, Carter?
Gee, man, I really got to get a thing that's really fast like yours. I do not have a hat on today, but I'm going to get one because Ian has inspired me. I'm here pushing the buttons, producing the show, and I'm pumped. Thanks for coming out, man. Let's get into it.
Here's a story from nonstop local Tri-Cities Yakima, because it was the only outlet that I could find that actually centered the story around the winner of the race, Brandon Herrera. It says Republican Brandon Herrera advances to primary runoff election in Texas's 23rd congressional district, for which there is a single sentence, which says Republican Brandon Herrera advances to primary runoff in election in Texas 23rd congressional district. See, the reason I opted for this nonstop local Tri-Cities Yakima NBC page is because literally every other outlet, they title their stories like Gonzales heads to runoff amid allegations of affair with aide in a tight primary race with conservative challenger Brandon Herrera. I would argue, indeed, it is not a tight race, as Brandon Herrera won handily. However, we got to scroll down here on this website. In Texas, you've got to get at least 50%. So, okay, fair. It is relatively tight. It's less than 1,000 votes, but Brandon Herrera won. And so the headline should be either Gonzales defeated by Brandon Herrera, however, they will both go to a runoff. Every headline acts like Brandon Herrera, who I'm going to argue is substantially more famous than Tony Gonzales. This is what really irks me. Okay, this is the reality of the establishment media and the machine state of this country. By any metric, Brandon Herrera is more famous than Tony Gonzales. He's got millions of followers. And I'm not saying that to disparage Tony Gonzales, but Tony Gonzales is like a rank and file member of Congress. In his district, he's probably moderately well known. But I guarantee you, if you go to any random place in the country and ask them, do you know who Brandon Herrera is? Do you know Tony Gonzales is? You're going to get more people saying Brandon Herrera. He's a big YouTuber. So that's why it irks me when he wins. He's more famous, and then you see all the media act like he doesn't matter, because these people don't want to give air or space to anyone who would challenge that machine. So, outside of that, we got a lot to talk about because Jasmine Crockett got fired, and Dan Crenshaw got fired as well. So, I mean, or are we looking at? Well, I got to throw in the mix. Okay, lower Republican turnout than Democrat. How are you guys feeling about all this?
So I think that it's kind of not a surprise that Crenshaw got beat, honestly. He's looked at as a swamp creature. If you look at his history when it comes to stock trading, he's done a lot of things that people consider insider trading. He's made a lot of money in the stock market since he's been in Congress. It's fairly well known. I think that the MAGA base kind of looks at him and says, no, he's just a boilerplate swamp creature, and we want to get him out and get someone else in.
Yeah, I mean, Crenshaw is literally the worst. I think everyone knew that. It got to the point where we were all like, maybe we owe Pete Davidson an apology. Like that actually kind of was a funny joke when you think about it. Like it got so bad. So good riddance.
Well, he had a lot of there were a lot of people that were looking to give him a chance when he first got in because he's a former Navy SEAL, because of his pedigree and stuff, and he just totally wasted it and totally blew it.
Yeah, the GOP was a lot softer when he came in too. And then he just like ended up being this really like catty, vindictive guy. I don't even know how much of it really was his his politics, more so than it was just his personality. It was just like he would crash out all the time. He was literally like a gay guy, the way he behaved. Like he was
Kind of like a curmudgeon.
yeah, he was always just like freaking out on people, and he's always like trying to settle scores. And the way he like tweeted was just like he made you feel gross just reading it.
Patch McCain was very accurate for him.
Yeah, there's a lot of great nicknames for him.
It's so sad though, because when he got in, he was so promising, and everyone was excited.
Yeah, he was awesome. I thought he was going to be the guy that spoke truth to power, because he kind of did at the beginning.
But I feel like a lot of people didn't even know about him until the Pete Davidson thing.
What year was
Well,
that?
I will say this: the Politicos, the space that I was in, when he won, we were like, "Let's go!"
He was a big deal.
A new breed of better Republicans to challenge the machine state.
And then what happened?
A combat veteran guy, right? He's going to get in there and he's going to whip these suits into shape.
Yep.
We got these pencil neck DC guys who've never seen a fight in their lives. Crenshaw comes in. We were stoked. And then he
And he did nothing.
threatened to kill Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shout out to Stephen Edgington.
I
by
think
the
it's
way.
one of those things
Patriot.
that he ended up becoming the very product that we were trying to get out of office.
Yeah.
You know, to where not every great individual with a great pedigree is meant for leadership. You know, they were great in their field, but when they transition to this place of power, you're trying to vote for anything and everything that opposes that other party, even if it's far right. And far right in the moment seemed like the perfect answer. But then as years went on and that clash begins to diminish over the years, now you realize like, oh shoot, this probably wasn't the right guy to run things. You know, regardless of how many consecutive turns he was doing, I think it's about time that Republicans are seeing, you know what, it's not about having that far left, far right narrative. It's about finding where conservatives were supposed to be the entire time.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
In Iran?
Did it COVID drive Dan Crenshaw insane? Because he was normal at first, kind of a badass. Then he got real quiet for a couple years, and I didn't hear from him. And then he started bitching nonstop.
Maybe there was like a deep state guy who somehow got access to Crenshaw's browser history and like knocks on his door and says, Mr. Crenshaw, and he's like, hey man, I'm not going to listen to you deep state guys. And it's like, here's a list of your browser history. And says, I will say anything you want.
Oh, did he get blackmailed?
I'm kidding,
was
but
a
maybe.
firebrand.
Someone was going to tell people what's actually behind the patch.
Yeah, I think he's just like a ladder climber because like I remember when he first came in, everyone's like getting all hyped. They were just going back to what his statements were on like the initial Trump run, and he was like pearl clutching over Trump's like comments on Muslims. And he's like, "This is so hateful. Like we're Americans. We're better than this." So it was like this guy clearly was a ladder climber. And typically when you're a ladder climber, you're actually really good at like hiding your cards. But he's terrible at it. He has the worst poker face in politics. Like that's like what I led with is he's literally melting down all the time. I've never seen him happy before. Like he's always just like mad, freaking out, just like good. And I think honestly his constituents probably don't even know anything about his politics. They're just sick of his attitude.
Yeah, I mean,
just like so I just can't stand the guy.
This is a light taste of what's to come this year with the midterm elections. And you know it's going to get real spicy towards the end of summer because the Democrats came out in force. The turnout was very, very good for Democrats. Republicans were down by like 20%. Yeah. So a lot of Republicans are sounding the alarm saying like, guys, if we can't get turnout, especially when you're trying to get like Ken Paxton to win to beat Cornyn and Herrera to beat Gonzales. Yep. I mean, come on. Like these elections very, very much mattered. And although I would say it turned out very well on the Republican side, the turnout was relatively low. So end of summer, Democrats are going to be coming out screaming and bashing their faces against the table that the apocalypse is happening. Yeah. You know, so we've got in our newsroom, we're running that channel where it's like it's not a channel, it's 4 channels at once. Sure. So you can see, I guess, what do they have pulled up? Sports. Like the top left is some sport channel. I don't know. You guys watch football or something. But then you got Fox, MS Now, and CNN, and it was absolutely hilarious before the show started. MS Now's Chiron was Hegseth says something like talking about dead troops makes Trump look bad or something like this, which is like he definitely didn't say. And then Fox was like Democrats endorse murder or something. Not even kidding. And then CNN was like more missile strikes in Riyadh or whatever, something like that. And I just thought it was absolutely hilarious to see the state of media in this country right now. But I would argue that Fox News, hyper-partisan, Democrats endorse, illegal immigrant crime or something like this. And it's like, I get it. Like, okay, it's hyperbolic, but technically it's true. Hegseth saying that he's claiming that people should stop talking about dead troops because it makes Trump look bad. That literally never happened. Yeah. And so, like, the right is, if watching Fox News, you're going to be biased you're going to get information biased against Democrats, but opinionated and true. Hyperbolic, perhaps. And MS Now is just lying about what's going on. Imagine what it's going to be like in August when we're a couple months out from the midterms. And this is the Democrats' opportunity to put an end to Trump once and for all, because this is it for him. Yeah. This is his last opportunity. If the Democrats win the midterms, they know they're going to jam a crowbar in the gears and then just lock everything up. So they're going to be going out in massive force, screaming that the world is ending. And my point on the MS Now thing is, you think that headline is crazy? Wait till you see what they pull out. Like, Donald Trump will go to pet a dog and they'll speed it up 200%. And it says Donald Trump repeatedly strikes dog. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be absolutely insane.
I mean, nowadays it's going to be just AI photos of the same thing, or videos of the same thing.
Yeah. Well, you're going to get this negative feedback loop because, like, I don't like the inside baseball for how political media works is really the summer before the election cycle is when the money starts flooding in. So you're going to get a negative feedback loop where some money starts coming in. MS Now starts saying, like, hey, if we don't win this election, it's all over. All these donors are going to freak out and start pouring more and more money in. So this is going to be like the most expensive midterm cycle, not just on the election side, but in the media side as well.
Do you think that the big donors are going to give money to the people that are essentially calling all rich people the evil, and you think they're still going to open up their pocketbooks for that?
Well, because they think they're the exception.
Well, what wasn't Bernie Sanders' campaigns mostly funded by small donors and stuff?
Yeah. So but that's kind of rare. I mean, like another example is the Herrera versus.
No. It was all millionaires and billionaires, but they only gave $20.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I'm kidding. It wasn't. It was mostly like working class, middle class people.
And the Herrera Gonzales race is another example where Herrera was mostly I think it was entirely small donors, and then Gonzales was like all institutional. But this is the thing that sucks is the reason that Gonzales was so close because he's like literally has the most skeletons in his closet that we can look right at him in the eyes is because the cash on hand he had was still far surpassed Herrera. So it's but we're still playing in the old school game.
The point that I'm making is the people that are running for Congress, the energy is with the left now is really on the far left, and they've made it clear that they look at wealthy people as the enemy. I wonder if wealthy people that generally write the big checks to PACs and stuff, I wonder if they're going to open their pocketbooks when people like Bernie Sanders and Ro Khanna are talking about wealth taxes or taxes on your property. That right now people have already started to leave California just because that is on the ballot. It seems like it's a popular ballot measure and it might pass, but at the same time, when the wealthy people are like, "Yo, we can't do this," Are they really going to write checks for people that are going to?
I think they're going to continue to write those checks because it's all a part of the grand scheme of things. Because they'll end up with someone like Mamdani in New York, and will continue to fund this whole spiel. Right now, they're using this as bait that we got to tax the rich. We got to tax the rich. Those rich donors that are donating to those Democratic parties are going to continue to do this because their next candidate is going to run on that whole phase of tax the rich. And it's going to happen like every single other time, the trickle effect. But it will continue to come down.
But the evidence coming out of California is that they don't. They leave. They go. They try to get away from that.
To Tim's point, this sounds so cliche at this point, but TDS really does trump everything else because you have to think for these billionaires, they legitimately think Trump is going to exterminate the United States as it stands. So that trumps everything else. They're willing to risk it on them potentially getting taxed more if it means keeping Trump out. And this happens from the center left all the way to the far left. Look at Bill Kristol. Bill Kristol's he has wet dreams every night of bombing Iran. He literally dreams and salivates about bombing Iran. It's all he wants to see before he dies is burning flesh in Iran. Trump bombs Iran. All of a sudden he's like, Trump is committing a war crime here, and he's actually not following the rule of international law. So it's every single one of these people, their lifelong dream, they will the Trump hatred will overcome that every single time.
But Bill Kristol is a swamp monster. Bill Kristol
is left of center.
He may be left of center, but he's not a business person that's a billionaire that's writing the massive checks.
Bill Kristol will cut a check to Mamdani if it means keeping Trump out of office.
Probably. Well, let's jump to the story. We got this from CBS News. House Ethics Committee to investigate Rep. Tony Gonzales over allegations of affair with aide who died by suicide. For those who are not familiar, this is the guy that Brandon Herrera is running against. He cheated on his wife with a woman who then killed herself. And, I'm going to say this. There are details about the story. Everybody in the Beltway knows. We're here in D.C. basically. And so we hear all these rumors, which I can address a little bit. And I'm careful because I don't know what exactly is true, but everybody's got a similar story. However, I will stress, there are some people who think it wasn't suicide. And I'm going to go ahead and say that at least the conversation in the Beltway and what we know from the press is that the staffer who died did die by suicide. That being said, I don't know exactly, and I want to stress this. There are some people that think it's more nefarious, as it were, in that Tony Gonzales, the implication they're trying to make, we see some of these rumors running, is that he's going to lose his election if it comes out that he's having an affair. The woman he's having an affair with is then found immolated. She says her dying breath, "I don't want to die," and people immediately take that as somebody tried to silence her. Yeah. Now, I got this. Douglas Mackey tweeted this out. She committed suicide by lighting herself on fire. When she was found heavily burned and pleading for water, her last words were, "I don't want to die." 100% of those who attempt to commit suicide but somehow miraculously survived, usually they jumped off a bridge or tried to overdose, have reported regretting it. Life is precious. And it's true. He has this from the story. It says, Santos Avil was regional district director for Rep. Gonzales, a Republican representing Texas 23rd District. She joined his staff in November of 2021. Her mother, Nora Ann Gonzales, previously told the San Antonio Express News that her daughter was upset on the night of September 13th because her 8-year-old son was spending the weekend with his father. Santos Aviles, how you pronounce it, and her husband had separated and were sharing parental responsibilities, her mother said. Sensing her daughter's distress, Gonzales said she went to the home that night to find Santos Aviles burned and pleading for water. The last thing she said is, "I don't want to die." So when this story came out, tons of people were saying, like, it kind of sounds like somebody was killed, that somebody was lit on fire. And what I will say is this. The story that's been circulating in the Beltway is that she calls him on the phone, threatening to kill herself unless he drops everything and comes to see her. And he's like, "Get out of here, crazy lady." So on the phone, she dumps fuel on herself and then screams like, "I'll do it. I'll do it." And again, I don't know that any of this is true. These are just rumors that are circulating. And then here's the thing people need to understand, okay? They think that in order to light fuel, you have to press flame to the fuel. That is not correct. The fuel itself is not flammable. It is the fumes that are flammable. And so again, I don't know if this is true, but the rumors that have been circulating is that she snapped a lighter or something. She like splashes herself while filming and then like snaps a lighter, like, "I'll do it," and whoosh, goes up. Because when you are splashed with fuel, the fumes are coming off you. A ignition source near the fumes will light you up. Now, again, I don't know that any of that is true. And I'm just saying this. You got all these members of Congress, and they're like, "Yeah, this is what everyone's saying happened," you know? Now, there's a couple things. Maybe the reason those rumors are circulating is because it, you know, for an establishment Republican guy, it's, salacious. So there's no foul play. You know what I mean? Because right now, like, we don't really even know what happened in the official reporting. They've not released any evidence or details.
This guy sounds electable. That's all I know.
When did she?
People are voting for him.
She lit herself on fire last September.
September 13th.
It was a long time ago. You'd think there'd be a criminal investigation if it was anything.
I covered it when it happened.
Yeah.
On my morning show.
Yeah, I remember it.
I remember Tony Ortiz was covering it pretty heavily as well.
I literally had that. Not this literal situation, but I dated a girl for a long time and she threatened to kill herself. I was like, it just got to the point where the threats, I stopped coming home to try and placate the woman because it was like, if you're going to do it. I can't stop you and I'm not going to shut down my life for you. And so I empathize if that's what this guy was going.
Ian just looks at her and he's like, "Do it."
I didn't say do it, but I was
What?
just like,
That's kind of like,
Really?
that's kind of like a point to you because it's like she's like, "I can't live without you."
No. Ian, when she said it, he goes, "No, wait, don't."
yeah, it wasn't about me. It never was. You know, she was had her.
It's all manipulation.
One of my boys, 3 of his exes became lesbians. And like the first one, you're like, "That's weird." The second time, it's like, okay. The third one, it's like, I think this guy's so good that she realizes I'm never getting a better man, so I might as well just switch to women.
Yeah, or the other way
Alpha
around.
widows.
Like, if everywhere you go you smell, poop, you got to check your boot. So he must be doing something to these women where they're like, "Oh."
Oh yeah, maybe it's so bad they ruin men forever. And
Yeah.
it's like I'm
I
going.
mean, I've met multiple individuals throughout my life, especially when I used to travel for ministry and stuff. Individuals that literally tried to commit suicide, tried to take their own life away. And every single one of them had said the exact same thing, whether it was jumping a bridge, whether it was an individual that I knew that tried to light themselves on fire, and thankfully people got there in time. Those situations, nobody in the heat of the moment, when the act is actually coming about, nobody is thinking, yes, it's finally happening. Of course, anybody would think about saying, I don't want to die in the heat of the moment. But for people to not have any valid foundation to what these allegations are coming, as long as it's not being checked by reality, as long as these individuals aren't actually bringing factual evidence, I think it's just going to be almost a monopoly play for any Democrat.
I want to stress, too, because we just got a super chat from X-I-Alpha. I can't pronounce your name. The investigators are the Uvalde Police Department, the same ones that let all those kids die. So, part of me has to go like, sounds probably like foul play or something nefarious, Member of Congress's mistress goes up in flames. Nothing to see here, folks. No one has any idea what's really going on. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. The House Ethics Committee is investigating, right? Sure. I think the public has a right to know everything about this story. Now, to be fair, I understand the family may say, look, it's a tragic incident. Considering this was the mistress of a member of Congress who died under suspicious circumstances, I'm sorry, I think the public has a right to know. Like, what are the details of this?
If you are going to be voting for someone, the moment that they decide to go public or to carry any type of office or seat, the public is required to know who they're voting for. Because if they don't, then anyone could just step up to those positions. If you don't want your life to be put on the spotlight, not only the good things, but even mistress type of things, then don't sign up for that type of job.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. It's like, if you have like some skeletons, like, I don't know, some people, it's like, okay, you had like this embezzlement issue, or like, hey, I got fired from a job, I was like high on the job. One guy, he cheated on his wife and then she burned herself alive. Like, some of these things, would make you a little bit like, maybe you should not run for office, maybe stick to like, I don't know, middle management.
Right. There's a difference between I stole a piece of gum and my ex burned herself alive.
Well, no one's perfect.
There's
No one's perfect.
There's nothing approaching that in my history, and even I wouldn't run for office.
I have a few speeding tickets. Oh man, I missed a water bill from an old rental place, and they had to come find me.
I'm not.
Yeah, but here's the thing, like,
so no one's perfect.
MS Now is never going to run a story saying, Tate Brown forgot to pay water bill. They're going to run a story that says, like, derelict and vagrant.
Yeah.
How Tate Brown skipped town on his debts. Yeah. They're going to like crank it up to 11, and they're going to bring in like the landlord, and they're not going to say the number. There's going to be like, so when he stole that money from you, what did that do to your family? And the guy starts crying like, we lost everything because of Tate Brown.
Yeah, it's like an anti-Semitic move, like the ADL comes after me. It's like, he's oppressing landlords, get him.
Well, they're going to continue to use that bait because the bait keeps working. It's the exact same tactic for the past few years. This whole false narrative on every single story that they bring, they have to add salsa to it. They have to add an ingredient that fits whatever narrative to attack a certain people or a certain person. And if it's still working, why change the bait?
Yeah, I gotta just stress, I am deeply offended by the word salsa because it just means sauce.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to Hispanics, salsa isn't just sauce; it's salsa. It's
but like
a chile.
The direct translation is sauce.
That's the dances. You're dancing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what about a dance? That's hot.
No, I mean, when we think of salsa, we're not just thinking sauce. We're thinking something that's going to bring this back to life.
That's sauce.
Yeah, well, not for Hispanics.
Like mayonnaise.
Not for the Mexican. No, you will not hear Mexican or Hispanic be like, "Tráeme la salsa." Go give me mayo. Like, no.
This reminds me of like when people from other countries are like, but in my country, like dinner is like a big deal. Like it's like, it's like a thing for us. It's like, and I'm like, oh, well, it's just dinner. We gather together and we like pray and then we like talk. I'm like, that's just everybody.
No, but this is the annoying thing. It's just like a liberal thing. Like with the talk, they were like, these awfuls, affluent white female. I love how they added the U to it. Before it was just affluent white female liberal, but now it's affluent white female urban liberal. And I'm like, you've done it. You've completed the acronym.
Yeah.
And they're like, you don't understand. Black people have to tell their kids not to fight with cops. Yeah, it's like wait, what? Everybody in the city does that.
My kid's white as hell, and I already told him don't mess with the cops. Like, if the cops tell you to do something, you listen.
You're not going to win a fight with a cop. Like, even if the cop is dirty, he's corrupt and he's wrongfully arresting you, you're not going to win a fight with a cop. It's just not going to happen.
The whole state on his side.
Yeah.
And but not just that. Like, let's say a cop plants a drug on you or whatever. Fighting with him just is going to make it look like you are more guilty.
Yeah.
And it's going to help the corrupt cop.
Yeah.
Bro, there's some...
I think if you just don't instinctually know that, like, you probably shouldn't antagonize a guy that has a firearm, then it's like you're cooked. It's over.
I mean, I get into that kind of conversation regularly on the internet and stuff, like, because, you know, I'm a big 2A guy. So it's like, look, you're not going to win a fight with a guy with a gun. He has to win the fight, right? Because if you were to knock him out, he has to assume you're going to shoot him and you're going to run off with the gun. That means someone that just committed a murder is now on the loose in public with a firearm. He has to win the fight. And the cop is not going to let you win. He will shoot you first. And there are more cops coming all the time. So you just can't fight. You cannot fight the cops. You will not win.
Let's jump to the story from Fox News. Straight out of Congress. Top progressive concedes race after viral mockery for embarrassing defeat. Jasmine Crockett lost, and she's accusing the Republicans of cheating somehow.
Maybe that's just like knee-jerk reaction. She didn't think about it. It just came out that way.
I think it's because the worldview of the Democrats is that they only exist to call Republicans evil. And so there is no narrative thread for which she could pull to say Democrats cheat elections.
I mean, I think it's embarrassing because for someone who jokingly criticized Donald Trump for using that card, she used it now. We just seen a few moments ago how the amount of Republicans that went into the voting polls were a lot less this time around, and she's somehow mad at the individuals that didn't vote for her in the first place, Republicans, instead of the Democrats who did not choose to vote for her.
Well, the Democrats cheated. They 100% cheated.
By favoring the other candidates.
Stephen Colbert staged a hoax where James Tallarico listen, I want to stress this. James Tallarico engaged in a hoax with Stephen Colbert. Tallarico tweeted out, "This is the interview Trump didn't want you to see." And they framed it as though he was the only candidate and that he was already the primary winner. Colbert and Tallarico framed the interview on the show as if Trump was trying to make sure that Paxton or Cornyn would get an opportunity to go on Colbert. That if you're going to have a Democrat, the Republican should be allowed. Oh, hold on. We are not in the general. So that means Tallarico's opponent, who would have been granted equal time, was Jasmine Crockett. The purpose of the hoax was to create the perception in the minds of the people that Tallarico was already the nominee. And nobody knew who he was. He had no notoriety. He was not going to beat Jasmine Crockett, a rising star in the Democratic Party, until this. And Hollywood Reporter is gloating about it, saying the Colbert bump did it. That because and they don't call it a hoax. They're saying thanks to the interview that Colbert refused to censor in the face of the FCC, Tallarico wins. Well, now, the craziest thing is Jasmine Crockett crying like a baby and blaming the Republicans. Let me play this clip for you guys.
Fred has already stated, we encourage each and every one of you to remain resilient. We cannot allow this type of behavior to be rewarded, because so long as they know that they can win, even if it means cheating, then they will continue to do it.
Well, is she talking about Democrats there? Because they're the ones that cheated.
My question, are you going to go the Bernie Sanders route, Jasmine? Are you going to now kowtow and just, wipe your tears?
No, she's out, bro. She's gone.
Or are you going to step up like Tulsi Gabbard and acknowledge the malfeasance there? Because, I mean, sounds like you have a case, an FCC case, for not getting equal time on Colbert. I mean, the FCC is important. Make sure that all.
No, they didn't put it on TV. They put it on YouTube.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
It was a hoax, bro. It is evil stuff. Evil stuff, bro. Tallarico skinned a Christian alive and slopped his skin over his body and says, "Look at me, I'm a Christian, vote for me." And the Democratic Party is like, we got to get this guy front and center so he can actually he can trick moderates into voting for him like moderate Christians. Jasmine Crockett, I think, is a bad person. I do not trust her. I think she lies about her accent, all that stuff. But holy crap, step outside. Okay, first let me just say, part of me is laughing because of how funny this is to see these scumbags kind of just eating each other alive. At the same time, I am rightly pissed off that this is how politics in our country is being run. Don't get me wrong, I'm not naive. I know that politics has been dirty for a very, very long time, but this is so brazen. So brazen.
Yeah. I love how, the Texas Democrats are like, the reason the state's really slipping away from us is because Hispanic voters are really flipping over to the Republican Party. Who should we nominate? Let's nominate like a gay white guy. That's like the solution.
Jasmine Crockett's her announcement that she was running again was just like 30 seconds of Donald Trump calling her a low IQ person.
While she spins.
Yeah, while she spins. Like, it is
that was
right
weird.
off the bat. It just demonstrated that she is a low IQ person. You don't run 30 seconds of the president of the United States dogging you out.
It's like a humiliation.
Right.
Well, that's kind of why some of the individuals that love Jasmine Crockett, I don't know if you guys watched the video, where they came out in the news saying that they loved her so much, but they couldn't vote for her because they did not believe she could win. So how do you love someone so much, campaign behind them and do all of this stuff, and yet at the end of the day switch it up and vote for the polar opposite of her?
But she can't win. And if your worldview is moderate Democrats suck, but Republicans are pure evil demons, you will vote for a sock over a Republican. So the attitude, this is the Democrat establishment plan. Tallarico masquerades as a Christian. He there's viral clips of him where he I mean, some of the most, I'm not a Christian, but holy crap, some of the most shockingly offensive, blasphemous sophistry I've seen. There's one viral clip where I'm again assuming it's real, but I think it's from Rogan, where he argues that about Mary, the Immaculate Conception was the angels saying you can abort the baby Jesus right now if you want.
Insane.
Never, not real,
Not
real.
once did that happen. I did a video on it earlier today.
Oh my God,
Luke chapter 1 verse 34. You find the angel telling her that she will conceive and call that child Jesus. Later on, she asked the angel, "What's going on? How will this be? I'm a virgin." Lets her know how. Verse 38. She comes out and says, "Behold, I am the Lord's servant. Let your word be to me as you have already spoken it." Not once does this validate her consenting to give Jesus an opportunity to live. This was not her consenting
to abort him.
life.
The framing that Tallarico made in this video, he says the angel went to her and said, "Do you want to actually finish carrying this baby?" And she was like, "Okay, I will." It's like, see, they asked for consent. Therefore, the angel was like, "You may terminate the Son of God." This dude is evil. He is an evil man. Like, I think I actually have the, I don't know if I have the tweet from him. No, let me pull it up. James Tallarico engaging in the, let's see. Yep, I got it right here. I always got my sources. Here's Tallarico's tweet himself. "This is the interview Donald Trump didn't want you to see." His FCC refused to air my interview with Stephen Colbert. First of all, Trump had nothing to do with it. The FCC had nothing to do with it. The FCC never intervened in any capacity. CBS stated, they told Colbert, if you interview a politician, FCC equal time rules means you will need to have on that person's opponent. That's it. Colbert lied, and James Tallarico, the Democrat nominee, lied along with it to frame this as Trump is trying to stop me, the nominee, from winning. And it was funny to find out, if you actually pay attention, you're like, hold on there, gosh darn minute. This was shutting down Jasmine Crockett, not Paxton or Cornyn. They are lying. Tallarico is evil, okay? Look, I'll tell you this. I remember it's like 2018 or whatever, and my mom calls me and she's like, "How come all you ever do is talk about Democrats?" And I said, "Because they're evil." I was like, they constantly do duplicitous things. They're malicious. They're lying. And she goes, "Yeah, but Republicans are bad too." And I was like, "I don't disagree. Give me something that Democrats have done that I think would, that you think would be bad." And my mom was like, "Well, I mean, I don't know." And I'm like, right. The problem with the Republican Party is they are sitting on their hands elitists who are weak pencil necks who can't get the job done. They do have their scandals. There are evil Republicans too, but the Democratic Party just hits grand slam after grand slam. And so when we're going through the day-to-day, what do I find? There are many Republicans that are at odds with the establishment of the Republican Party, and I can stand alongside them. I can say I'm a fan of Thomas Massie. I can, there's a handful of, Massie's going to get the direct shout out, but there's a handful of Republicans we've had in the show that we're friends with. And then we know there's the establishment bad Republicans, and we call them out, but it's just sometimes, because usually the problem with Republicans is they don't do anything. It's like the SAVE Act. Hey, vote for this thing. And they're like, well, I don't know. And so our biggest complaint is they won't do it. Democrats, on the other hand, do things like this. Just abject deceit to steal political power. Bernie Sanders putting out his tweet earlier where, or I don't know if it was today or yesterday, where he's like, I'm going to charge the billionaires 5%. And then Jeff Bezos will unfortunately only have $224 billion to survive on. And you know Bernie Sanders is lying. Mm-hmm. You know for a fact, if you're in politics, Bernie Sanders understands, and so does Elizabeth Warren, exactly why the proposal doesn't make sense. And for those of you who haven't heard the explanation on the wealth tax, or who can't comprehend the function of the wealth tax and why it doesn't work, let me just describe it like this. For those of us that have been tracking politics and that track economic systems, Bernie Sanders may as well have said he is demanding the government seize the candy cane rainbow bridge from Jeff Bezos that he uses to get to the planet Nebulon. And you're going, that literally is a fake thing that makes no sense. But to all the people who are deeply concerned about the Care Bears and they don't know better, it sounds like Jeff Bezos is an evil person.
Well, to common sense individuals, we know it's crazy. But to individuals that their entire life, their entire mindset is delusion, and that is they only stick to what their side is saying. They're not looking or even considering what anybody else is saying. Anything and everything that comes out of the garbage to them is fine dining. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter who it's coming from. As long as they're blue, as long as they think and do whatever they want them to think and do, it's 100% factual. And
let's debate. We got some shade for Republicans and you. There, I said it. Here's a story from the Gateway Pundit. Niqab-wearing Muslim woman who voted for Democrats in 2024 becomes North Carolina's GOP state Senate nominee after running unopposed. You know what? I'm going to say it outright. I have tremendous respect for this woman. 100%. The thing that I love about Democrats is their absolute willingness to be merciless, brutal, deceptive. They will steal power. They will, like, they are Mr. Burns. They will steal the lollipop from the baby. Maybe that's not a good example, but you get the point. So what do we have here is not a single Republican exists to run in this place for state senator. And so a Democrat liberal Muslim woman says, I'm going to take the spot.
Yep.
And we see this. There was do you guys remember when the transgender Satanist anarchist won the primary in, it was New Hampshire, right?
Yep.
Because no one ran.
It was in my
and
town.
I'm going to stress, I am sick of the right? You get these hoity-toity dudes who whinge on the internet, sitting there talking about all the problems, but all they do every day is they sit down at a desk and complain about what's going on in the world, and they don't actually run for office. They complain about it and demand everybody else do it with their freaking beanies and their folded sleeve button-ups, telling everybody else what to do, but they won't do it themselves.
They got a cat. What?
Probably got
Yeah, these people thinking they're all hot. I know those people.
No, but I mean, this is an argument that we make regularly on the show. It's like the Republicans need to exercise power when they're given power by the electorate. They're not elected just to tell the Democrats to slow down. They're not elected to say, oh, we don't want to move this fast. They're elected to actually undo Democrat policies. And Trump actually has undone Democrat policies. He stopped the invasion of the border.
Because for the longest time, their ultimate goal has just been, let's get them into office. And that's where their plans stop. That's where their policies end. If our ultimate goal when running for any type of political office is just to get the position, everyone that voted for you has just gotten set up to fail.
Yeah.
But this is why Brandon Herrera needs to win. Mm-hmm. Right? Things like this. The Democratic Party for too long. Look, guys, I don't need a Republican Party that's going to storm in full tactical gear, smashing their fists on the table, being like, Insurrection Act, raw, and load up the trains, we're deporting everybody. Ooh. I need a Republican Party that says we are actually going to vote on the SAVE Act. If the Republican Party we had was 80% of this country from Democrat to Republican are in favor of the SAVE Act, we're voting on it. It's going to pass. I'd be like, thank you. I don't need guys with guns and fists and tactical gear to say we're taking over and then running around seizing. We don't need anything crazy. We just need a party that literally does their job based on what their constituents are asking for, and the Republicans don't.
But at what point do you call for something like that then? Call
for the Republicans to do their jobs?
Yeah, or somebody to actually stand up guns blazing and actually taking over and doing what needs to be done.
No. The point at which we would ask for, 300 guys in tactical armor with rifles is like you're being bombed point. In terms of at what point do we demand Republicans do their job? It's literally 20 years ago. It's 10 years ago. It's right now. It is vote for Brandon Herrera. Make sure he wins, because the more we can get people like him, Riley Moore, our rep, amazing. Okay, shout out to Riley Moore in West Virginia, because he's a guy you can literally go and talk to. And I understand it's probably easier in West Virginia, where it's more sparsely populated, but his district is same size district as any other district. But he'll talk to you, and he actually works for what the people have asked him to do. And then you've got all of these other, what is it, like Tony Gonzales votes for gun control. Yeah. Okay, Republicans didn't vote for that, and they don't expect you to vote for that. So the time is now for Republicans. You guys got to run. Okay, I'm loving that the Texas Senate primary had so many people. Wesley Hunt, Ken Paxton, and Cornyn. Great. That being said, I wonder if Paxton would have won cleanly if Wesley Hunt did not run. So we'll see. I'm hoping that when these other candidates are removed, it all goes to Paxton. That being said, the primary was fantastic for the Republicans. I mean, Crenshaw's gone. We'll see if Toth does better. But, I mean, this story about Lakeisha Alston, guys, I'm going to say it right now. I may not like what Democrats do, but damn, do I respect it, okay? Because these are the kind of people that show up to your house and say, your house belongs to me now. And the Republicans are the kind of people who go, well, I think town hall is going to hear about this, pack up their stuff and leave.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Again, why the other day, with all due respect for the Iran war stuff, I said I loved the masculinity of Trump. Because when Iran says to Trump, we got enough material for 11 bombs, and then Trump goes, I'm going to kill you. Yeah. Like, as much as I'm not a fan of getting involved in Iran the way we are, I have to just feel some kind of masculine catharsis to Trump saying, I will F you up.
Well, what you're getting at is what separates Trump from like every other Republican is that Trump ultimately only responds to power. That's why he respects people with power. He disrespects people that don't have power. This is why like some people get frustrated that he doesn't have like a bromance with like Javier Milei or like have this bromance with Viktor Orban. It's like because he likes them. He's like he likes their policies or whatever. But who cares what Hungary has to say? Who cares what Argentina has to say? He only responds to power. This is why he respects Xi Jinping. This is why he respects Vladimir Putin. He'll respect a strong man. And that's what separates him from the GOP, where the GOP, beautiful losers, they're going to go and glaze the prime minister of Hungary. It's like, great, it's very useful. I love Hungary. I love Orban. This is great. We can implement a lot of their policies. But let's not pretend like this is the most important thing in the world. The GOP just gets fixated on like principles and, we can get this really fantastic housing act passed. That's literally what freaking John Thune, out of everything on the docket right now that matters, he prioritized that housing act to like help like poor people help buy it. Like, does anybody care about that? Right? Like, we're at war with Iran. The SAVE Act could literally make or break every other election going forward. The Trump, the wartime powers. The Democrats were trying to restrict his wartime powers. All of these pressing issues, DHS funding. And John Thune, he's like, I might get a glossy National Review op-ed, so I think what I should do is I should prioritize getting this housing act right. Meanwhile, it's just like gay pacified Republicans that only care about their ego, that only care about their status, versus Trump, who's like, I just respond to power and I will return the favor.
The meme was Republicans care more about the opinion of the New York Times than their own constituents.
Yeah.
Literally.
They really do. Well, Republicans have been like that for a long time. They want the approval of D.C. Yes. Like they just are dying for Washington, D.C. to invite them to the parties, to make sure that they get a good seat at the correspondence dinner and stuff. Like, those things are important to Republicans. It's all about, they want the status, and they don't care about actually doing the things that their constituency wants. And their constituency hates Washington. So what they have to do is things like Trump has done. Go in there and cut things and make changes that are going to be unpopular in D.C. And if you don't, D.C. will continue to consolidate power. 94% of D.C. voted for Kamala Harris. That's what you get when you don't actually go in and change the culture and change the bureaucracy in there. You have to make cuts.
And I think that the reason he's criticized so much, not just on the left, but we're starting to see that especially with what's going on in Iran now from the right, they're criticizing him not because of what he's doing, but because he actually did something. So to anybody else that is in the Republican Party or the Democratic Party, they are threatened not by his role, not because, the e-files or whatever, anything like that. They're threatened by him because he can actually do things. He is not just going to make you all of these promises and then just, hey, you're paying me to be here. You guys can go to hell. You know what I mean? And as we continue to vote for Republicans or Democrats, stop looking at people and voting for people based off of the color of their skin, their sexual orientation, where they're coming from, if they're from the hood or they're from the higher ups. Focus on what they've accomplished prior to office, prior to running, because if their report is 0 equals 0, those individuals don't need to be running for office, and we shouldn't be voting for them. You need individuals that are going to be able to actually follow through. And if they're following through in their past objectives and their past courses, then you would expect them to follow through here.
I got a question that I'd like an honest answer to from you guys. Is it better to have someone in power that's deceptive but an idiot, or that's deceptive and brilliant?
This goes back to if you speak to a lot of South Africans, they'll tell you, I'd rather live under incompetent socialists than competent social democrats. So they say actually when you live in a situation like South Africa, it does enable you to build projects. It enables you to kind of operate under the government's nose because they're horribly incompetent, even though they're socialists, versus Europe. Living somewhere like Germany or Denmark, a lot of South Africans say that's not favorable. I'd rather stay here because I don't want to live under all-encompassing, competent social democracy because they're going to ensure that you can't even lay an egg before we come and take an inspection of it.
Yeah. Well, if you laid an egg, Tate, I'd be concerned.
Right. I'm not thinking anytime soon I'll lay any eggs. But
if you laid an egg, he'd have you out in the chicken coop real quick.
The competency of the Trump admin's ability to deceive, Trump was no new wars, and now, of course, new war. I think that it is, it's definitely or Jasmine Crockett or this guy who will deceive Colbert and the world to get power.
No. He and Colbert
deceived the world with Colbert.
Yeah.
What I'm concerned of is because of the intelligence of the deceptive power of Trump and his administration, what we're going to start seeing is deep fakes, like we talked about at the top of the show, and it's going to be deep fakes of Trump flying knee kicking a dog or whatever. And then are we going to see the Trump admin being look, misinformation actually is a big problem right now. We're at war, and we need to start. And his zealots will be yay, Trump said it.
I'm going to play this video for you guys. It's a breaking viral video from CNN. Shocking news: Iran war ceasefire. Actually,
a new development in the Iran war, as Iran has signaled they are prepared to agree to terms of a ceasefire after Marco Rubio announced today that the group chats of top Iranian officials had been infiltrated. Here is President Trump commenting earlier today from the White House.
It's bad news, these group chats. I mean, no man on earth wants his group chats with the boys released for everyone to see. It's locker room talk. You've heard me say that before? It's very embarrassing. And we had the CIA and Mossad infiltrate them months ago. And let me tell you what's in those group chats. It's bad. Of all the bad things the Iranians have done, the killings, the bombings, this is the worst, by far.
I'm joined now by CNN senior correspondent Kevin Brown, live on the ground in Tel Aviv for more. Kevin, what more can you tell us about this story?
It literally is Dennis Polishchuk.
Thanks, Jake. Right. The mood here has been tense, to say the least. However, it's appearing like some kind of resolution is on the horizon. The endless bombing campaigns from the Iranian regime have been put on pause since this news dropped. It's a story that is on par with the Israeli pager drama from 2 years ago, but this time a coordinated effort between the U.S. and Israel. I'm being told that these group chats had been infiltrated for months, and there was serious internal debate in the White House and Knesset about whether or not to release them, as this would seriously violate international bro code and could potentially lead to retaliation against Israeli and American men. Dubbed Operation Epic Funny, these group chats, I'm told, include texts criticizing the weights of senior Iranian officials' wives, racist and sexist memes that were not only not denounced, but were thoroughly enjoyed, as well as numerous instances of smash or pass, where women's photos would be posted in the group chat, and Iranian officials would then comment on whether they would have sex with the women or not.
I love how he explains smash or pass. Okay, guys, it's obviously a joke, and Danny literally ends the video Bro, it's so good. Let me play the end.
Is the only way to protect themselves.
That was CNN's Kevin Brown live from Tel Aviv. After the break, Lindsey Graham will be joining us to explain that the guy he's lived with for 30 years
How is he not
really
laughing?
just his roommate.
Some of you probably somehow thought this was real. Obviously, it's fake. I'm comedian.
Bro, the craziest thing is that this video has gone massively viral. I think what does it have? 2 million views
for him.
Since this morning. But here's the best part. Danny tweeted at Grok, is international bro code real? And it said, yes, international bro code is 100% real. That's why hacking the Ayatollah's group chat instantly forces ceasefire talks. Oh, wow. No one wants the receipts dropping on who owes who a beer or skip the last summit. Bros before geopolitical blows. What's the juiciest leak? So the craziest thing is they had to community note Danny's obvious AI satire about how Iran was more embarrassed about their racist group chat, so they were going to cease fire as opposed to the actual war itself, where he literally says, he has Trump say the group chat, all the killing, all the bombing, it doesn't compare to the racist memes. People actually believe it's real. And, you know, so just before we pull this up, Ian's talking about how AI videos are going to start coming out. Bro, I want to stress this. I think everybody flagged it as an AI gag right away, but there are still people who think it's real. And I got to stress this. I put out a tweet like 2 days ago or 3 days ago where I said, is there even one reason why we shouldn't take over Iran or Canada for that matter or Mexico? And it's got like 6,000 responses from liberals who are like, what do you think you can take whatever you want? They literally can't understand sarcasm. They can't. When your IQ is 85, you don't understand the purpose of sarcasm. So their brains just go like dial tone. And I would argue it's many of the same people. I will pause real quick and say this. I also think there's a large probability that many of these people are foreigners, because my hypothesis on this, the reason why many people have noticed that irony and sarcasm often is, you get a lot of response when people can't get it, is because they're translating what you said. So in English context, my joke, is there even one, I put it into caps, argument against taking over Iran or Canada or Mexico? Anybody who's American is going to be like, duh, like, he's joking. We're not going to invade Canada or Mexico. Now imagine if you hit translate on that and you speak Farsi or something. All you see is there is no argument against taking over Iran and Canada and Mexico. You don't get any of the American context in language
or in text. Often in text, it's lost too. What I think a lot of times what will happen is kind of like if someone's on a battlefield, you know, you're all about sarcasm and joking, but if you see someone waving what looks like a gun at you and you're already in a panic, fight or flight state, you can't really take it as a joke. And some of these people are so wound right now that they don't see jokes anywhere. They see
no, right, like or finish your point. I don't want to interrupt.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think maybe some people will be like, he's being serious, obviously, because everything's so important right now. Ah.
I think it's that low IQ people can't understand sarcasm. I think there's a few factors. I think the foreigner issue is huge. There's a lot of people who are not Americans who are trying to manipulate American public opinion. This is normal psyops that's been on social media for decades. You then have people who genuinely can't understand it. And they're just like, why would you want to invade Canada? But then you have liberals who know it's a joke, but prefer it to not be, so they can use it to trick stupid people.
People will do that too. They'll be like, look what Tim Pool thinks.
Like Sam Cedar's a perfect example of basically like every time he does a video about me, he intentionally lies about the opinions I have on. So a really great example is I was talking about, I think it might have been like the Minnesota shooting. And I said, the truth doesn't matter in this regard to the right or the left. Because the right is going to argue the left is evil and wronged us, and the left is going to argue the right is evil and wronged us. And what Sam does is he takes the quote, the truth doesn't matter, and then stops, and then says, see, Tim Pool's literally trying to tell his audience just to lie and be evil. He doesn't try to actually convey the information because he's a scumbag. He's an evil guy. He just wants to make money. He doesn't care about politics. He's old. He's just like, whatever gets the clicks and makes me the cash.
What do you say?
I think in 2020, it caused a lot of individuals to lose what we're having right now, which is social interactions. Everything forced people to be on the screen. Everything forced it to be, whether it's a tablet, a phone, or whatever type of screen. So that has become their focal point. They do not know social cues. They cannot have a normal conversation without it being filtered through a text screen in their mind. They are able to put any emoji in their brain with anything that's written out there. So it's constantly being filtered through that garbage because of our failed system in 2020 and so on and so forth, to where individuals lack the basic human ability to sit across from somebody and have a meaningful conversation without it being filtered through their emoji.
I have another theory. I think that, we talked about why Elon Musk bought X. And a lot of people they played up like, oh, it's because Babylon Bee got banned and then he got offended. No, it's because he wanted access to what's called the fire hose, the stream of all the tweets from people to use as training data for an AI, for Grok. So everybody's got their data sets. Google's got a massive data set of all this different stuff, from search, from, maps, whatever it might be. And then, of course, you've got, I don't know exactly what OpenAI uses, but they're probably using Google and other search.
OpenAI used like Reddit, and they used
Wikipedia.
Yeah, Wikipedia and Reddit. So that's part of the reason why.
And I'm pretty sure they watched YouTube videos too, and Google got mad about it.
Yeah.
Here's my other thought. Do you guys know what CAPTCHA is? Mm-hmm. Remember CAPTCHA?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
CAPTCHA is when you try to log into a site and it says, "Are you a robot?" And then you've got to solve a puzzle. You've seen it before. So the original reCAPTCHA was text. You would try logging into a website, and it would say, "Prove you're not a robot," and then it would show you two words that were all mangled, and it would say, "Type these words out." The truth is, only one of the words was the actual code. What reCAPTCHA was doing was using human labor to train AI to read physical text.
Really?
So the issue is, for a camera to identify text, you need a data set. So what they would do is, here's a list of words we know. And so they'd show you a picture of, it would be like shillelagh, and it would be like bent because it was scanned from a book. The computer already knows what that word is, and it's trying to test whether or not you are giving it accurate data, not whether or not you're a robot. It was actually not about if you're a robot. I mean, it's an ancillary benefit. What it was trying to do is, the second word we show you, we can't read, and we want a data set on, we want a trustworthy data set on what that word says. So basically what they were doing was scanning books. And if the computer said, this word is unidentifiable, you'd log into a website, you'd see this thing asking you for a robot, and then you'd say, oh, it says shillelagh doorknob. It knew shillelagh, it didn't know doorknob, and the purpose of it was to say, if the first word is correct, they likely put in both correct words. So 4chan created an operation called re-N-word, but not N-word, the actual word. And they said, to exploit the system, the first word is always the code. The second word can be anything you want it to be. So what happened was, and I'm pretty sure this actually was confirmed. 4chan started going to every CAPTCHA, and they would put in the first word, and the second word they would put the N word. And so what ended up happening was, in some of these natural language processing sites, the N-word started popping up randomly in places where it shouldn't, because the computers were being trained improperly because people were exploiting it. But they quickly fixed it, so it may just be an urban legend. The operation absolutely did happen, because I remember it was going viral. People were like, the argument was that reCAPTCHA was trying to steal labor from people with this method. They were tricking people into training AI to read books.
Without them knowing that.
Without them knowing, and without people getting paid to do it, they were decentralizing the labor. I believe that X is probably that training algorithm in all the same way. That is, I would not be surprised if they intentionally have Grok bots tweeting at people, posting at people, trying to generate replies because it trains the AI on these interactions. Get this. Why is it then that Elon Musk says your payment is based on the number of replies you get? Because that encourages people to reply and generate more replies. So let's say you put up a tweet or an X post and you say, I'm just not a fan of waffles. And then someone responds with, and you can see a lot of these are bots easily. Some of them are very obviously bots. They'll be like, waffles were invented in 1790, and you're like, ignore. But imagine this: Grok's AI sees a tweet that says, Donald Trump is doing a decent job, but I'm upset about the war. It then responds with something that is seemingly nonsensical. It'll say something like, the war, the war in China, blah blah blah, and then you look at it and you go, what are you talking about? We're not at war with China. So you respond with, hey dumbass, we're not at war with China, correcting the bot. It then takes that training data and then says, here's where we made a mistake. And I'm going to back this up once again with another bit of conjecture from this very show, where several years ago I pointed out that there is something that I noticed on X where your account will be categorized and attacked by bots based on the perceived alignment that you have, which creates a problem for middle of the road people. The example being, I was like, because we're a fairly moderate show, and that means sometimes we're critical of Trump, but largely supportive of him. It's confusing for a bot that's operating under a political alignment binary. And so what ends up happening is there were numerous instances where I would make a tweet and I would say something like, I just absolutely, Israel's a really great example. I would say something like, it is absolutely insane that we would be forced into a war because of Israel. It's about time we cut off, we cut off funding to this country and support for them. However, because there was a general view, like after I met with Netanyahu or whatever, or because we're typically Israel ambivalent, my account gets categorized in the pro-Israel camp. So when I criticize Israel, I get blasted by comments that were attacking me for defending Israel. Literally made a post saying we should stop funding Israel. And all the replies were like, why should we fund Israel? You're nuts. And I said, hey, these aren't real people. They clearly didn't read the tweet. It seems like my account is flagged with categories based on some kind of botnet, and they're responding to the keyword Israel in a post, and the presumption my account is pro-Israel, not the substance of that post, in which case responding to them would correct the record. So I don't respond. But again, I think this whole system is being set up so that we can be used as free labor to train the artificial intelligence. And I believe that is the true reason that Elon bought X. It's obvious because he launched Grok right away. He's using X photos and videos for the training data. It's a great product, to be completely honest. But I would also imagine it goes further than that. And we are responding to bot accounts to train it further without realizing it.
I hope he goes transparent if you're doing that, Elon. If you want to use, people will opt in, so you don't need to trick them or deceive them in that case. It feels real like you're getting raped if people take and use you against your will. So don't do that to people unless it's like war and you have no choice.
I think he has said that he used X as a data set. So I think it's pretty
that's
clear.
The fact that the Twitter fire hose was training data for AI is not a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
I'm saying I believe there is a decent probability that Grok is actually, that there are probably Grok-powered bot accounts responding to all of us. And when we respond back correcting them, we are training the AI to be more believable as a human.
So why are people not trying to file lawsuits against this for free
for
human
what?
labor?
What do you mean?
To
what
where
lawsuit is there?
you're working for something that isn't paying you. You're unknowingly helping this
you have
organization.
no standing against something like that. If I make a bridge that's got panels on it, so when you step on a panel, it generates electricity, you chose to walk on my bridge. You can't sue me because I generate electricity off your weight.
I think if you're benefiting from someone doing something without knowing that they're benefiting you, I think that would call for grounds for somebody to be like,
There's
hey,
absolutely
I'm not doing this.
nothing.
Yeah, I'm thinking about handing someone a piece of mail and being like, can you drop this off for me? And it's like, you make some money because they mail your check, but can't really ask you for anything because they did it.
But again, we're not even looking at something like that.
Well, that's different because they're asking you to do that.
This would be like
these individuals wouldn't. They're not asking
the door to my restaurant has a generator on it. Every time you open it, it spins a generator charging a battery. And I've done the math. You get nothing. I'm sorry, you can't be like, but I opened the door and he benefited from opening the door. They're going to be like, what? Or there are gyms where when you ride on the bikes, it actually spins a generator. And so there have been a handful of gyms that actually have all the bikes when people are riding are putting juice back into the grid.
Did you see the AI video that says that will be the future? Or that's what all these people are going to be doing is exercising for electricity.
Well, that's a Black Mirror.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the episode where everyone lives in the TV box?
Yeah.
He rides the bike and earn points.
If you get sued for this, like every time you take B-roll in Times Square, you just get like 50 people suing you every single time.
Right, exactly.
My, likeness.
Let's have a little fun, though, and jump to this story. We got this from Dexerto, the new video game, Karen. And it's funny because a lot of people are like, Karen is racist. I think this is hilarious.
Sorry, we're all out of half and half.
Can only do an exchange.
No, breadsticks are extra. I'm sorry, ma'am. That's our policy.
So, it's a Karen with the Karen haircut destroying them all.
Epic Celtic.
Did they get these ideas from Los Angeles? Or?
Oh, it kind of looks like, what's that? The models, there's games that have this similar character models.
Why does she have superpowers?
Among Us, I think.
Well, else are you going to get the manager out there?
Is she getting bigger? Is she?
Yes.
Yeah. She eats. She probably eats like it. Yeah.
So
My problem.
Karen the video game.
Well, my problem with this is when you think of like, let's just, everyone out there just play like a mind game. Close your eyes and think of someone destroying a shopping mall. Do you really think of a middle-aged white woman? Is that like what occurs to you?
And that's the first response from Kangman Lee, a bunch of young black men looting a department store.
Yeah, literally.
Now hold on, that's just a different video game. And Tate, I recommend you make it.
I know, but no one's ever gonna make that.
I made a grok video called Shaniqua because that's the black equivalent of a Karen. I researched this. The funny thing is Wikipedia is like, Shaniqua is a racist term for a low-income, rude black woman. Or they said it's used in racist ways to describe low-income, rude black women. And then Karen, it's like, some people criticize Karen as being racist. And it's like, guys, neither is racist, but they are both racial. Like, when you say Karen, you don't imagine a black woman, and when you say Shaniqua, you don't imagine a white woman. And they're both references to people you would describe as rude, but they're not meant to represent literally every woman of that race. So it's a racial joke. It was always allowed. And I think Karen should include the option to choose between all sorts of different races. I would love an Asian, a Kim.
Oh yeah,
who rampages around, smashing things up.
Gotta skin that. Skin that bitch is what I was gonna say, but I mean make skins for the character model. You can have like
this is me and Amber Duke's like thesis. This is why we came under so much ire for defending Karens. But our proposal is like, okay, yeah, it is annoying, right? Like Karen, when you think of the Karen phenotype, that is an annoying person. But the problem is it's like safe, edgy, where a lot of people just outsource every problem in like American public life to Karens. And if you're really being honest, how far up the ladder are, again, middle-aged white moms like an impediment to like the functionality of American social life? Like, is that really, when you think about like who's disrupting like the retail scene? Is it really middle-aged
I'm going to say it again.
white women?
Brother, awfuls. Okay?
Even then, it's
Karens fall in this camp. There's the meme I'd love to bring up where the man builds a fence around his house to protect his wife from wolves. And one day, while the wife is out working, the wolf whispers, "Your husband built this fence to imprison you, tear down these walls and find freedom." So she does, and the wolf eats her. The point is, Karen represents to me the uppity, pretentious, white, affluent female that has been so removed from the dangers of the real world that she just demands whatever she wants.
I would agree if that was the working definition everyone has, but people just use Karen to like describe, again, like a white woman that just expects like basic standards like when she's out in public. And like the thing is, Karen's
basic standards.
Karens don't know about arguing about something.
Yeah, they're arguing because
I think it's delusional.
No, because a lot of these retail, dude, the state of retail workers in 2026 is like horrible. Like it's legitimately like you go to like a Wendy's, they're like in their pajamas, they're blasting music, like the order is always wrong, they forget your straw all the time. I mean, that's like the basic level. So it's like, and if it's fine if I like got mad, but again, if like Amber Duke got mad, and I hate to sound like a libtard, but it's like if Amber Duke got mad, look, can you believe that Karen?
No. I like it. I like it. I like the fact that you go to a fast food restaurant and you can't, and everyone's all nasty, and the world shouldn't be candy canes and rainbows and marshmallows and pillows.
Kind of with that, I think people have become accustomed to luxury, and like, why get obsessed if your plane's 7 hours late? You're still getting to ride in an airplane, bro.
We need bears running around. Just like we gotta breed grizzlies and just let them loose in our major cities and be like, it might be you. You know,
Well, I
because
agree,
danger exists.
I'm just using Wendy's as like the DMV is miserable. The TSA, have you the TSA treat
That's
you like a
government,
terrorist?
bro.
I know. I'm saying it's at every level. Every time you have to deal with like someone that has to perform a task for you, they're like an idiot. And this is like a fairly recent thing. Even at like top level, even like Trader Joe's. I used to respect Trader Joe's employees, and since COVID, it's just gotten horrible.
Yeah, no, I can agree
No
with
one
that.
cares about their job
What
anymore.
makes them-
Across the board, no one cares about their
What
job
makes them
anymore.
Karen is they can't control their temper.
No, it's just they expect like basic standards, and when Karens, by extension,
That's not
boomers,
true, bro.
And when they're out of the way, it's going to be a total free for all.
Karen is meant to represent an entitled woman.
I think some people should be a little bit more entitled.
Sure,
People
but
are
the
getting
point
pushed-
is,
people can't
when-
advocate for themselves.
When you
anymore.
see a video that someone's accused of being a Karen, there are certainly some that are wrong, where it's like she's falsely accused. But the general idea is like a woman comes in and she goes, "Why is there mayonnaise on my burger?" And they're like, "I'm really sorry about that. I'll remake it." "No, this is ridiculous. I want free." That's the Karen trope.
Yeah, I agree. Like those are. I'm just saying it's expanded now to like any white person that gets like upset that they're being mistreated.
That I don't like because I'll see sometimes women will get harassed in a park by a dude
Yeah.
throwing food at her dog, and then they get her reaction.
Well, that was the story.
That's one of
The story was there was a black guy in Central Park that was trying to feed a woman's dog,
Yeah.
and she started screaming, and she definitely overreacted, and the media, they just went, white women bad, black man
Which is
good.
completely different than a girl walking into a Wendy's and being like,
Sure.
"You forgot my pickles."
But then, to my point, also, it's like when you think about, again, a shopping mall and you think about people freaking out in public, is it Karen's the primary person you think of, or is it like the video Kangman Lee posted?
No,
Like,
that's why
No,
I'm
it's-
saying we
it's
got to make
typical Karens.
we got to
No,
make
it's
our own
not.
game.
No, it's
no, bro.
It's
crazy.
like having a long line at a store. A Karen is not the person that just got cut in line that's been waiting there for 15 minutes. A Karen is the one that just showed up and starts yelling why nobody's attending to her because she showed up,
Right.
and you doing what you're doing is an inconvenience to her because she has this expectation that she hasn't informed you about, but she expects you to be informed. And every time a expectation is set over you that does not appease to them, you get a Karen.
Guys, I want to add this video to the mix on this story, and I hate Instagram because they always mute it and you can't play it right from the beginning.
know.
But I want to play this.
Shorts are like that too.
I'm going to play this video. Listen to this.
Where men and women were hooked up to brain scanners as they watched people play a game. They got to see whether the people playing the game were playing fairly or whether they were cheating at the game. And the people playing were connected to electric shock machines. So electric shocks would go into these people as they were playing, and they would measure the brains of the men and women watching. So every time a player that was playing fairly got an electric shock, both men and women's empathy centers lit up. Whenever an electric shock would go into a person that was cheating, women's empathy centers lit up just the same as with the fair playing person, but men's empathy centers did not light up at all. Actually, their pleasure center lit up. Super key psychological distinction between men and women.
Wow.
And that's a very interesting take that I think plays into this very much so, in that according to this study, men are feel pleasure when evildoers are punished. Women feel empathy when evildoers are punished. Hence, it's what's that woman's name who's talked about the feminization of
Helen Andrews.
Helen Andrews, and this is basically her hypothesis played out macro level politics. When you get to the point where any significant percentage of judges and DAs are female, they are going to empathize with the evildoers. The idea that an evildoer, so a man is going to say, "You are a murderer and a rapist. I think you should be beaten. That gives me pleasure and joy." And all the guys are saying, like, we derive pleasure from the suffering of this evil man. And the women go, "But it's so mean."
Well, not Democrat men. Democrat, they see it, I think, in the same way that women see it.
Indeed. So it's basically a low testosterone phenomenon, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
And I mean that literally.
Yeah,
literally.
because it's like all this is really happening is these are natural impulses that women have always had. It's just when you implement them in a liberal democracy, that's when it becomes this. Yeah. That's where you get Karens, because policing behavior, women of police behavior, that's called being a mother. That's like a natural instinct for them to have. And policing behavior is actually very useful in a
they don't police behavior. The point is that the men are the one ones who are going to go to the child and they're going to say no, and they're going to whap them on the backside of the head, and then the mom goes, "Oh, baby, come here, I'll give you a kiss."
Yeah, but women, okay, but like the maternal instinct is a form of policing behavior. That's how women do. Often men wouldn't even be in charge of parenting. They would leave the wife at home while they're out doing their thing.
Right, and mom is the safe place where, you know.
Not my
I think mothers. I mean,
you're wrong.
I think
woman wore the pants in that house. My dad was.
I didn't talk about wearing pants. It's just,
Again, let's not be willfully obtuse. I am not suggesting that every single mother everywhere all the time is letting their kids run rampant. I'm saying women have a tendency towards this as per the studies, and men have a tendency in the other direction. I also think it's fair to say, if you could measure love, I think it is 100% true. Women's love for their children would shatter the charts compared to men. Men love their children, 100% think so, but I believe that the emotion that women have towards their kids is substantially stronger than the way men feel about their kids.
How so? How so?
I believe that through evolutionary biology and psychology, women are effectively one with the baby for a long period of time in a way that men are not. So men do love their kids, don't get me wrong. And it's a strong and powerful love. Men will throw themselves onto a fire to save their kids and all that stuff. But I believe that women just have a stronger emotional drive towards their children.
The emotional drive to throw yourself in front of the train to save your kid is outweighed by her emotional connection because she was with the child.
Let's put it like this. Let's call it Fahrenheit. A man's love for his kids is 100 degrees Fahrenheit. A woman's is 120.
I've noticed females will get ill, physically sick, if they empathize with their child's feeling bad. They'll start to feel bad. There's a lot of different types of love. I think the women feel more types of love towards their children.
I'm gonna say this too. For anybody who's walked down the street with their wife and their kids, certainly something I've only experienced in this past year, babies are celebrities to women.
Oh yeah.
And I've explained this for a while about how catcalling is a phenomenon that affects both men and women of high status. The question is, what makes a woman high status? Well, unfortunately for the feminists, it is sexual attractiveness, which means a woman who is sexually attractive has high social market value. Guys are going to holler at her. For a guy, it's notoriety. Now, you could be ultra wealthy. So guess what? Guys that drive around in super fancy cars, what do you see? People go up to them and they go, "Yo, like, what's up?" And guys walking around with crazy chains. People always want to look at them. Or how about this? There's a dude who did a stunt where he went to Times Square. And he walked out of a building and had his friends paparazzi him. And so they all swim around him, start taking pictures, and he puts his hands up and he's going like this, and he's wearing a jacket, and then he has a fake bodyguard go like this. Crowds swarmed around because they just wanted to see who it was. So my point is, women, for the most part, are getting catcalled by guys because a woman will just be attractive, and that's high social value. But most guys don't experience any kind of catcalling because they don't outwardly express any kind of high social status.
I think
celebrity guys do.
The society that we're living in has almost indoctrinated men to the point of if they show any type of love, no, that's not what men do.
So to the point,
rough around the edges and all this other stuff.
So to the point I'm trying to make is walking down the street with a baby, and I'm curious what you've experienced, Phil, in this one. I think I've seen not a single guy has ever, of any age, stopped and said, "I got to see your baby." Women, every single woman, 100%.
You just did something right now, which I don't think you realize. You went, "Hey, let me see the baby," because we automatically tie men loving children or showing empathy or emotion towards kids as being gay or as being homosexual. There's a femininity to them. If men
this
show
is not material
love
to the point that I'm making.
Well, here, let me tell you.
The point is,
for child is if I see
not a single guy has ever said, "Oh, what a beautiful child. Can I take a look?" Not one guy. I'm in an elevator and an old lady leans back trying to look into the baby carriage. We're sitting down at a restaurant and the women walk by and they go, "Can I take a look at your baby?" That's my point. Women love babies substantially more than men do. Men, of course, love their kids. I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying I think it's evolutionary psychology and biology, and it should be patently obvious to every guy that guys like going out and fighting bears. I mean that somewhat figuratively. Women like having babies. It's fascinating the amount of social propaganda you needed to convince women not to have babies. And then it's funny because I see these videos online on Instagram all the time, and it's like like music is playing and it's the woman with her baby. There was one earlier where it was a woman who said she always wanted a nose job and now she's glad she never got it because her nose fits perfectly with her baby's forehead, and she put her head to her baby's forehead. I'm like, yeah, guys don't make videos like that.
Yeah.
Guys don't feel that way.
It's obsessive. I think it's a type of love called mania. And it's one of the 8 Greeks have them split.
Women are manic.
They're manic for their babies.
True,
They have it means obsessive love, and women do have obsessive love for their babies. Men don't. My love would be formed as agape, love of the community, where if I see your kid, I'll be like, "Hey, kid," and then I immediately look around the room to make sure we're all safe because I love that kid and I want it to survive.
I don't even notice like Tim's baby half the time. Eyes, and I'm like, oh, hi, how are you? I don't.
It's here.
And I didn't grow up around like I was always the youngest. I didn't really grow up around babies either, so I speak to them like adults. I'm like, hello, how are you? And
men and women are different. There's nothing wrong with it, right? So again, to the point that I'm making, like the point that I'm making is that babies get catcalled because they're by women. I'm not even playing. Like,
that's true.
And it's funny too because my wife gets concerned because she's like, I don't want strangers touching my baby.
Sarah's the exact same way.
Isn't it crazy how women walk up and go, "Can I touch your baby?" And it's like,
no, I don't know.
Could you imagine this? A guy walking from like, "Can I touch you? Can I touch your shoulder?" No, don't touch me.
Yeah, and if they got weird perfumes on, you don't want your baby breathing.
So how would you feel in comparison to a girl approaching your child, and if a man approached it in the same way?
I don't like either a man or a woman.
Hypothetically, if more women are coming and they're being catcalled to your kid, if that same reaction was a man doing it, how would you take that?
Okay, so again, the same because both are bad. Mm-hmm. So when a woman walks up and tries to touch, or in other words,
can I see the baby?
Yeah. No, you can't. Mm-hmm. And a guy doing the same thing, there are ways that it can happen where we don't freak out, right? Mm-hmm. We're sitting at a restaurant and, she's in a high chair and then there's an old guy and he looks over and he smiles and he waves and then we laugh and that's about it. There are instances where women will walk by and they'll look and say, "Oh, your baby is so cute," and that's fine. But a woman being like, "Can I touch or hold your baby?" It's no, we can't, sorry. And a man or woman doing it is going to be a no, what are you doing? Stop.
Okay, so I think that is where the bias comes in. I do not believe that men are incapable or incapable of sharing that type of emotion to a child.
Who said that?
Than women are,
or
that women somehow are able to show more emotion towards children.
But it's a fact that they do.
I disagree. I think that every time that men have tried to show that, it's been brought back to this mold that no, this is what.
So you're arguing the blank slate of baby love?
No, not the blank slate. It's a slate that I've lived.
But your argument is that men and women are equal in this endeavor, but men are socially conditioned.
I agree. I believe
no,
that.
I'm saying that is your argument because I don't agree with it. I think men, like Tate's point is that he doesn't even notice the babies are here. That is not true for women. Like women. Seek out babies.
Yeah. Women they lactate when a baby cries.
Yeah, this is true.
Because
guys don't know
because they lactate, that makes them more.
Yes, because
hormones.
Because they're designed.
Hormones
for
are released in a woman's body if she hears a baby cry.
Right. That I'm not arguing.
Yeah, that means they're engineered to be with the child.
Breastfeed.
So a man will not have a hormonal reaction to a crying baby. A woman will.
Right.
That is an emotional action.
Right.
Women feel stronger emotions for babies. It's a scientific fact.
So if men began to feel stronger emotions, would men begin to lactate?
What?
No, we don't have the mammary glands.
So what I'm trying to say is you're setting up a woman and a man to something that they cannot do even if they wanted to show that amount of emotion. What? Does that make sense?
No, it doesn't. The point is this.
What I'm trying to say is
a man and a woman in a room and a baby starts crying.
One of them can physically lactate.
Men, if you give them the right hormones, the point is, if you take a random man and a random woman and you put them in rooms and a baby in the other room they can't see starts crying, women who are mothers will begin lactating and the men will probably just get annoyed.
Mm.
It's true, though.
You guys stay real calm.
Like I said, The what?
Oh, I'd stay real calm and meditate when the kids are crying. Just like, you got this. I understand. Gravity's a pain.
Go pick them up.
Yeah, empathy is what you got, but I'm not going to lactate for you, kid. Just don't care that much. I don't know. I fully believe. Do you disagree that women have like a more all-encompassing? Because the Greeks have split love into 8 different categories.
Correct.
You know, there's erotic love, which I don't think any parent feels, but like familial love, both parents can feel that. There is the obsessive love, which I mentioned earlier, mania, which women seem to have for babies that men do not. I don't know men that are manic for children. Do you? They get manic for babies their own or anything?
Manic, no.
I don't. That's where I start to think that females.
Bro, women have like baby crazy. It is a known thing that at a certain age, women experience a baby crazy that men do not. Women have deeply stronger emotions about babies than men do. This is just the literature across the board. And common sense, like you experience it.
Yeah, the obvious example, obviously, like following a divorce is different, but out of wedlock, like 98% of children end up with the mother. Because the father just doesn't really want to have them.
And gender roles and social bias are derivative of the human experience. The reason why women typically weren't in the workplace is because the structure of human society, when humans were nomadic and in small villages, the men would go out and do dangerous things, and the women would be protected because if the women die, you can't have any babies. If the men die, you only need one guy, and you can have more babies, right? And so women can do what men can do, but typically don't need to. Men can't do what women do and need to protect the women. After 1,000 years, women stay home, men go work. They go to the office, women don't. And then what happens is once you get to a point in society where you have a massive population explosion, which happens around the Industrial Revolution, the expansion of oil products and oil as energy, you have such a massive explosion of population that the stressors of population decline no longer factor in. Now you've got women who aren't feeling social pressures to get married and have kids. And this slowly starts shifting to an ever-increasing group of spinsters as a demographic, which results in the suffragettes, a large group of women, not all of them unmarried, but many of them, and then they're demanding rights to function in society without a husband. At a certain point, you concede. We got a lot of people that need to be able to live that don't have husbands. Then you end up with the 70s when all of them go in the workplace. Women in the workplace correlates like 100% with less babies. And so, long story short, the social structure is built around like why is that courts favor women getting the babies. First and foremost, it is fascinating to me how we as society don't know this. This is a failure on the generations before the millennials to inform the millennials of this. I'm sorry, I think it's true. Our schools did not adequately inform in sex ed the function of a mother for the baby. Like, for instance, mentioning that women lactate if they hear a baby cry. Not all women, but women who have babies, like a new mother or a woman who's breastfeeding will hear a baby cry and she starts lactating. Like, it's a response. Or the fact that the saliva of the baby changes the chemical composition of the milk produced by the mother. These are things that schools should have taught. And the reason why now I think you have such this big burst in surrogacy and claims that 2 gay men can have a baby is because people are not adequately informed as to the requirements a human baby needs. They need mother's milk. So they get their antibodies from it, and they get perfectly formulated vitamin protein shake. So formula's fake. And because people didn't, like, I got to be honest, I didn't know about the saliva thing until I had a kid. I'm almost 40. That's crazy to me. Yeah. That's crazy. Wow. I just don't know this. They don't think about it. And most women don't get taught this stuff either.
Yeah, I mean, and that's also vile. That's why, like, I get so fired up about, and I'm not saying you were making this argument, but the arguments people make that men and women are interchangeable in any way. It's like quite ridiculous. Literally, I can't think of a single instance in which men and women would be interchangeable.
Yeah, that's totally ridiculous. The whole blank slate thing is just garbage. We should throw it in the dustbin of history. The idea that men and women are interchangeable or that people are exclusively a product of their environment. If you put anyone else in the same circumstance, they would be the exact same. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. I also think it's fair to say just everybody gets that women are more emotional than guys.
Yeah, right. They have to be. You got to rationalize with a toddler and negotiate with a toddler. No, seriously, that's why they're a bit more emotional and irrational, is because they have to negotiate with a toddler for years.
And the toddler doesn't have logic yet, so
that's
they have to communicate emotionally.
Exactly. That's why men get so frustrated with children. That's why men typically speak to children like adults, but then women do baby talk. It's like because that's instinctual. Like
Baby,
know how to negotiate.
Baby talk will make your baby have a speech impediment.
Yeah,
that is true. But as far as like being able to communicate, so
tonally, that tonal communication.
As far as we know, I've seen throughout antiquity that people did baby talk forever.
So keep talking to the month-year-old like if he's a 4-year-old man.
Fathers should do that. I think the fathers.
Well, the way it used to be for most of human history is that the baby for like the first year or so is just basically hanging out with mom. At a certain point, the baby is like the male children are around the dads, watching dad, hit a hammer and smelt or whatever it is he was doing, chopping wood. And the girls were hanging out with mom, watching mom churn butter or whatever it is she was doing. And the children weren't. Here's my thing. My rule is no kids programming. This is an invention of the last 100 years, and it's mind-warping psychopathic garbage. Children throughout history did not have children's programming. They didn't have goofy-looking horses dancing around singing hot dog songs with mice, that creepy ass, whatever it is. And so what's happening now is we are raising our generations under the assumption that I got to be honest, guys. Just seriously answer me this: what is the logic behind sticking a child in front of a bunch of DMT tripping, anthropomorphized animals singing random nonsense like the hot dog song?
Ian?
It's better than them going out till 1 a.m. with their friends and drinking.
What?
But, I mean,
What?
you're talking about two different age ranges.
Dude.
Like, why do you want your kids at home vegging out? Because you don't want them out causing trouble. You're talking about a 2-year-old, so it's what else are they going to be doing? I don't know.
15-year-olds aren't watching Mickey Mouse sing the hot dog
I
song.
hope not. There's a lot of garbage on the internet, but I play video games.
Concerned my 2-year-old's going to go hit the bar. Put on Mickey Mouse.
If my 2-year-old won't go down for a nap, he's hungover.
They're clubbing tonight.
Like, what's the value of letting my mom letting her 4-year-old veg on the Atari, day in, day out? It turned out to be I didn't go out drinking.
Your kid watch some BBC Nature documentary.
Oh, yeah.
Where what's his Attenborough guy goes, the frog jumps from the leaf, lands in the water.
I was less concerned about what it is more concerned about what is not going to happen because this is happening. There are better things to watch for sure, but it's good to have your kid at home.
No. Wait, what? Your 2-year-old's not leaving. What are you talking about?
You want to establish a safe environment that they can enjoy.
Yeah, and the point is, there is literally no logical reason whatsoever to have your kid watch psychobabble garbage.
No, I agree.
Yeah, right.
Except
put on. You'd be better off putting an AI thunderstorm video that can stare at the screen. And that's bad too.
Just Celtic music.
Yeah, my dad.
Bro, just put on music videos. Just put on visualizers and play some Three Dog Night.
Some blocks. Just have them build things.
My dad put on NASCAR so I could learn the numbers. It worked. I knew
we're some fake money and let them count and learn about economics and stuff.
I just couldn't count above 100.
I told my wife the best thing is when we teach our daughter how to play poker, because it's basically about learning about math and values. And blackjack as well. So we're gonna play blackjack.
Yeah, first grade is when I got my first fake cardboard cutout money, and I could learn like a dime is worth this. That was like at age 5 or 6. Do that. Get the economy stuff out of the way early.
There's not going to be physical money, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
got to teach them about history. In history class, you can teach them about cash.
Yeah, I'm like, none of these weird kid songs. And my attitude is, you want to teach your child what it means to be a functioning adult with values, right? Do you today, as an adult, find value in the green grass grows all around? No, but you have fond memories of being a little kid and singing that song, maybe, but it never comes up. I will tell you this, I can sing Bohemian Rhapsody. So my point is, what creates social connections and is better? Play classic music for your kid. Mm-hmm. Don't cut out the vulgar stuff, but Sound of Silence, come on. Mm-hmm. And then your kid will grow up knowing all of these classic songs and have some actual connection to your culture and your history.
This is a true story. The first song that my kid ever heard was Hammer Smashed Face by Cannibal Corpse. Not kidding around, driving home, put that in.
Mine was Bizarre Love Triangle.
I don't know that one.
Was that by?
What you call it?
Metric?
No. Hades.
Hades.
Blue Monday,
No.
I remember asking the question.
The chat's going to go off and be like, how did you forget the name?
Blue Monday, New Order.
Yeah, New Order.
New Order.
Yeah, New Order. Bizarre Love Triangle. Every time I think of you, I feel a shot right through with a bolt of blue.
Take out the guitar, man.
It was
well. So we have a super chat goal before we go to super chats, and I suspected that when I made this goal, it was never going to complete, which was kind of the point. Because normally when I put Phil will scream, people start super chatting like, "Let's go." We only have 14 out of 50 because I put Ian will sing.
Oh.
Well, last time
does happen.
How many was it last time though? I think it was only 20, wasn't it?
No, it was 50.
Was it 50?
Not sure. Yeah, but I announced it like halfway through, so I think people started thinking about it and contributing.
To Ian singing?
Yeah. Get those $5 super chats rolling in right now. 5 or more.
Wait. I figured it out. Can I edit it?
Yes. No.
I should put, if we give us 50 super chats, or else Ian will sing.
That might work too. On the phrase.
Parallel ones, maybe?
No, I don't think you can. I think you can just do the one. All right, we're going to go to your Rumble rants and super chats. So smash the like button, share the show with everyone in your life that you love or hate. Before we do, my friends, you got to go to wallet.rumble.com and pick up the Rumble wallet. This is a non-custodial wallet app. What does that mean? It means you can trade Bitcoin, Tether, and Tether Gold. Tether, basically, it's a cryptocurrency that works one for one with the dollar. Look into it, figure out how it works, but it's basically representing a dollar through crypto. So it's easy to transact with people. And Tether Gold is the same thing, but for gold. So let's say you are concerned that someone wants to ban you from banking, which we have seen over and over again. Rumble Wallet can't do that because it's called non-custodial, meaning they don't actually have access to your accounts to ban you. So your money's yours forever. And you can use it on Rumble to tip your favorite shows and creators. If you want to tip the show, you can use the Rumble wallet. Or you can just download it so you can send money to your friends. If you want to, buy pizza or someone owes you money, Rumble wallet's fantastic. And you don't got to worry about someone banning you. So let's say you want to do a show. Maybe you've got naughty opinions. You get the Rumble wallet app. And if people are, if they're tipping you and you're getting money through there, you don't got to worry about getting banned from banking the way we've seen so many people get banned. So check it out, wallet.rumble.com. But for now, let's grab your Rumble rants and see what you guys got going on. The legend Dano says the donors will absolutely write those checks. Remember how Newsom said he was going to raise minimum wage for food workers, yet somehow if you make bread like how Panera Bread does, they are exempt. Yep, that was funny.
I don't know. I'm not convinced.
Alex Stein's coffee should have been called Love Potion Number Stein. That's a good one. Missed opportunity. Also, you've told the story of your friend saying start a skate park and then we'll help. Your friends are here. Keep fighting. Yeah, the story that I talk about is how back in the day in Chicago, I got all my friends to say, hey, if we all put $100 in right now, we can rent a warehouse and have somewhere to skate in the winter. And the response from all of them was, you do it and then let us know and we'll think about spending money on it. And I'm like, okay. Like, well, we have to build it. Like, what? I'm supposed to just front all of the money and then let you come and skate my park?
The investors invest first.
Yeah, right. You know what I should have said? I should have said, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to open it, and all of you are going to be banned from it, and I'm going to invite everybody else.
That's right.
I like it.
All right, let's see. Jarvis says, anyone else find it interesting? Tim conveniently got sick the weekend. The new World of Warcraft expansion early releases.
Oh, are you all night?
Just kidding, man. Glad you're feeling better. Bro, I ain't playing that World of Warcraft garbage.
Damn.
Dude.
Bro. He was in Tel Aviv consulting with Netanyahu. Strategy.
Emergency.
I'm just going to say.
Israeli F-35s. What are you talking about?
I am an OG World of Warcraft from way back in the 2000s.
Whoa.
Vanilla.
Yeah.
Back 60 level cap. I was Field Marshal PvP gear.
Damn.
Alterac Valley champ. God. Rogue was my main, but I had a couple other level 60s. I had a priest. And
thank you for your service.
Man, the game was so incredible back then. It was really difficult, but it was so much fun. Because when you were leveling up from 1 to 60 in the OG World of Warcraft, it was moderately difficult. Like, there were tasks to be done, but every step of the way had its regions, and it had its people, it had its adventures. So I had friends who were level 60 when I was, level 23, and I couldn't really do much with them because you don't get the experience if they're running you through a dungeon or whatever, but you could get gear. But so usually we would be in, like, I think we used, what was it, TeamSpeak, or was it, no, we used, what was it?
Skype we used too.
What was the other one? Not TeamSpeak. I think we used TeamSpeak.
IRC?
VC? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. There's another one with a V.
Damn. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. And so back in the day, there were things called instances. So you've got the World of Warcraft, this big open world game, and there were missions/dungeons with bosses with better gear that you could loot off their bodies. But once you go in, only you and your party can go in and do it. And so depending on how good you are at the game, but basically you need a party of friends to go and do it. Only problem, how do you find them? You'd go into forums, you'd go into chat rooms, you'd ask someone else, like, is there a guild? It was really difficult, but you had to externally figure out how to find a group of people to play the game with. Yo, I know people who got married playing that game.
Wow.
They met each other. And so I'm running around and someone runs by and they got a guild name and they'd say, I was like, hey, you don't got a guild. You want to join ours? And I'd be like, done. And then they send you the invite. You join. All of a sudden, you have a group of people, and you go, hey, guys, I'm trying to do, Ultimate or something. And they'd be like, let's see if there's anybody available. No one's going to be on for a little bit. And then you're like, this is great. And then you've got a group of new friends you just met. And so I remember the first time doing a 40-man raid.
Damn.
40 people. And it was crazy because you literally had to find 40 people. So the guild would put out a message on their website saying, guys, Saturday, 7 p.m., 40-man raid, sign up now. And then you'd start signing up, and then we'd go and do like AQ on Courage, or I think Zulfarok was a 20-man. And it was so much fun. So much fun. And here's the crazy thing. After the raid, the boss drops like 2 pieces of gear for 40 people. And so you had to roll. You had to type /roll. And then whoever got the highest number, they'd first be like, okay, who can use leather? And it's like the druids and the rogues. And they go, okay, only druids and rogues roll. And then 6 people roll. And then they go, okay, this guy wins. Here's the gear. And then you're like, well, I guess I'll have to come back and do it again. So much fun. And then I played until Wrath of the Lich King. And Burning Crusade, I was like, okay, level cap went up and I'll play. And it was fun to keep playing, but it was losing its spark. And then Wrath of the Lich King was really good, and I didn't really play it too much. I came back for Warlords of Draenor and was fairly disappointed. And then I played Legion, and I played Legion extensively. I unlocked Void Elves, went super nuts with it, but I was getting pissed off because at this point, raids were you click a button and it would randomly assign you to a group of people doing a dungeon and then randomly give out a piece of gear to a random person. It's no more human interaction.
It's one step away from you just inviting my bot to the raid, and I'll just sit here while my bot plays for me.
Exactly. What made the game work originally was that you had to work really hard to make friends. And everybody wanted to be your friend because you had a shared mission.
I used to build guilds for that purpose. I was all about guilds, dude.
You could hate somebody. You could be like, man, I just hate leftists. But that wouldn't come up because you'd be like, bro, I need someone. I'm creating a warrior and I want to go do VC and I need some friends who can, join on with me. And you never really talk about that stuff. You made real friends. Hey, where are you from? I knew a guy's like, I live in Canada. I'm like, wow, where in Canada? He's like, oh, I live in Alberta. I'm like,
I used to go so hard on that. And then in 2010, YouTube took off. It was like internet video became my video game. It became more fun and community building and like challenging than the Warcraft and other online games. Wow. That's sort of why I transitioned away from, I still game as much as I can, but dude, stuff like this is like so much more rewarding because you're still solving problems and developing equations and beating the boss, which is Jasmine Crockett or whoever.
I'm hoping that this message, like what made the OG World of Warcraft so big, will like there was a server, this is a while ago, that was running what's called like a vanilla version, a classic Warcraft, and it got shut down. Blizzard, I was going to say Wizards. Blizzard basically was like, you're stealing our IP, shut it down. And they were running a private server where you could play the original version of the game because everyone thought the expansion sucked. So then they were like, okay, we're going to relaunch Classic so everybody who likes the original game can play. And then they just started doing the same thing. And I'm like, I played it for a little bit and I'm like, no, this is dumb. This is dumb. It was fun when I had to go in for the first time into like TeamSpeak and turn the mic on and be like, hey guys, what's up? Don't know anybody. I'm trying to do Ultimate or something. And they'd be like, yo, what's up? Where you from? And I'm from here. You're meeting people. You're hanging out with people. That was the only thing that mattered. That's why it was fun. If you'd be bored in the game. You'd be like, well, I maxed out all my levels. I got all the best gear. And then there'd be people like, yo, bro, I need help. I'm trying to go get this thing. Like, let's go. Yeah. And it wasn't that the game didn't matter. It got to a point where you got the best gear, but it was going to hang out with your friends for a menial task, but it was just hanging out with your friends. That was fun.
I was telling my buddy yesterday, Bryce, about
Scarlet Monastery, bro.
Oh, I still think about it, dude. I love the monastery. Is that playing video games, there's like 2 types of rewards. There's what you get in the game, items, experience, and then there's what you develop as a human from playing it. You can get better at the game, then that seeds into other areas of your life, and now you're quicker at conversation, or you're more confident in a room because you beat the hell out of that game. So keep that in mind when playing. A lot of times, altruism can really, really make you a better person.
Let's grab some more. We got Same Old Man. It says, Tim calling the kettle black, aren't you, with screaming at politics, but you won't run. I thought it was self-evident that I was being self-deprecating when I complained about beanie-wearing dudes with folded sleeves complaining on the internet, refusing to run for office. Quite literally, the point is there are too many podcasters who complain and don't actually run. But I got to be honest, like, Bro, I mean, I'm in West Virginia and Riley Moore's my rep. I'm chilling. Like, we good here. You know, like he won and he's doing what we want him to do. So I don't need to run.
You have to move.
And like
I have to move somewhere else.
You got a carpet bag now.
The sacrifice Bongino made to set that show down to go serve like he did. Like, what a loss for that brief period of time. I still haven't talked to him since he's out. Like, he's out of prison.
To be honest, it was a loss the whole time because as much as I can respect the street level policing they did, we were hoping that he was going to be more targeting the corruption. And I guess for whatever reasons, he couldn't or wouldn't do it. So, you know, everybody wants to, I'm going to say this. Everybody wants to attack Dan like crazy. And I'm like, you can't get mad at someone for not doing you a favor. You know what I mean? You can be disappointed and wish that Deputy Bongino was going to do a lot more. He didn't do it. Then I say, okay, Bongino, keep rallying the troops, pushing them in the right direction. I'm not going to hold a grudge against somebody for not doing me a favor. That's stupid.
What podcaster do you think should step up to that role and possibly?
Oh, no, I don't know.
None at all.
Because the truth is podcasters are good at being podcasters, and there's value this show brings that would be lost if I ran for office. Right? I mean, millions of views per day gone so that I can represent one small district would be a bad idea. To go Senate would be only to represent one state. Well, I'm not going to run for president. You know what I mean? So it's like there's not an effective office for nationally hosted shows. You know,
and the list of podcasters that shouldn't run for office 10 times longer.
I mean, and also you have to think of like, you know, what seats are they going to be filling? Like, just because they're a podcaster that you know that you think has good ideas or whatever doesn't mean, or they have charisma or whatever, doesn't mean that they're in a place where you want them to run. And you're asking someone to uproot their life, go to a new place, and then are the people there going to vote for someone that just moved there to, you know, in order to go to Congress? Most likely.
Primary in Dallas has like 80 podcasters running in the same primary because everyone's like, I'm running for office.
There will be a YouTuber that serves as president at some point, though. Will it be you?
Not me.
I don't know about YouTube. What's the newest? They're doing Warcraft Midnight.
Served on YouTube.
I did 3.
You know the problem.
14 years.
You know what the problem with Warcraft, World of Warcraft is, especially.
Please tell me. I want to talk about it all night. Actually,
it was just first of all, let me just stress, Pandaria was when they nuked World of Warcraft. Yeah, that was truly the end of it.
It was the infantilization of that cheap game,
guys.
Made for little kids.
So you get Wrath. It was right after Wrath of the Lich King, right? Was when they did Mist of Pandaria.
Right after I quit too. I stopped during Wrath.
Okay, the intro to Wrath of the Lich King is a cinematic masterpiece. The story sends chills down my spine. It's tremendous writing. Blizzard has always had such incredible narrative. I don't know if you guys, nobody really plays Overwatch anymore, but did you ever see the short film The Last Bastion?
No.
Oh my God, there's not a single word said in that short film, and talk about some of the best narrative storytelling. Wrath of the Lich King's intro was just like, I watched that like, wow, the story is so incredible. They basically, the way it works is you're watching the Lich King. He's effectively, he's undead. He's evil, and he's raising a bone army. At the same time, there is the narrative of his father reading a letter to him about how he wishes when he grows up he'll be a great man, and he turns into this like plague of evil. It's so good.
Prince Arthas, he gets overcome with rage trying to hunt the villain. He becomes the villain he's trying to destroy, and then he becomes the Lich King itself. It's this horror story of like rage and how anger
his
can
dad
destroy
being
you.
like, son, may you be a noble ruler, and it shows him raising up like an undead army. It's so good. But here's the thing. Wow. After that, Mists of Pandaria, and you know what that is? It was literally the Kung Fu Panda expansion. Not a joke.
Oh, God.
It was literally an island discovered in Azeroth where there's a bunch of Pandaren. They are panda people, and they do Kung Fu.
And I believe they talk like this.
They talk a record dish. And I was like,
so
okay,
racist.
Aside from how hilarious that was, it was just
pandas, so it's okay.
Yeah, it removed all of the serious element. It was always a little bit cartoony compared to like Final Fantasy Online or whatever, but it was still relatively serious and horrifying. Like, what's her face? I forget the names. Who's the elf lady who dies?
Rhonda?
No, she gets
Sylvanas. Sylvanas Windrunner?
Yeah, she's like becomes a lich.
Oh yeah.
And so it's like, and now she's condemned that even if whether she's good or evil as a lich, she will always go to hell or whatever.
Oh God, what a
There's such great storytelling. And then they're like, and now there's Kung Fu pandas that talk a record dish. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm not playing this game anymore.
That's one of the things that I don't like about Magic the Gathering now is they've got all the weird expansions where they've got Star Wars characters, I guess, or something like that, and they've got Marvel characters. And
there's a really funny video where a guy's at Walmart, and he's like, guys, this is amazing. They're doing a big promo for Magic the Gathering characters. It's crazy to see Magic the Gathering IP like at Walmart. And then the camera turns around, it's Oreo cookies, Marvel with like the Hulk and like Iron Man. And he's like, look at all these Magic the Gathering characters. and bro, like they did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They are burning Magic the Gathering to the ground.
Wow. Okay, I heard it's going to be bad. My friend was like, dude, this is going to be...
They're saying it's worse than Spider-Man.
Oh, no.
Bro,
you got the original TMNT up top.
I got the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles right there. The OG. The OG. Really? It was a parody of Daredevil.
Written in Northampton, Massachusetts.
After in the 90s.
That is the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And in fact, they didn't have different color bandanas.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's all black and white.
Yeah.
I also have the original Deadpool, which is New Mutants 98.
I got that. That was like when I got into comics.
Additionally, I don't know where, but we have a like 9.5 original Vision Avengers somewhere. I just lost it.
The origin of the first appearance of Vision?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, Deadpool is my jam. I thought he was super cheap when they created
him. I want to stress this to all of you listening right now. What they have taken from us. I just have to stress that.
They took the fire hose.
Bro.
Which was like
I want to tell you guys
society on one idea at a time.
I want to tell you guys a story about the importance of Star Trek The Next Generation. And it always frustrates me when people go like, oh, I hate sci-fi. And I always tell them like, ignore the sci-fi. I don't care. And replace everything they're saying with real world conflict. There's an episode called, I think it's called The Defector. One of the greatest lines in Star Trek. The Enterprise, so ignore Romulan, ignore Federation, Klingon, whatever, okay? An enemy is fleeing a warship that's shooting at him. He crosses over into our territory in violation of the treaties we have because there's a ceasefire. They then bring this guy, and he's a refugee with information dire to the Federation, and we don't know if we believe him. The simple version is he says the Romulans are planning to launch a war against the Federation to violate the ceasefire, and they're doing it from this location. And I had to tell you to stop this war. It's going to kill everybody, and they shouldn't do it. And so they go to this planet, and they find nothing. And the admiral who defected is like, I don't understand. And then all of a sudden, 2 Romulan warships appear next to the like in front. They decloak. They have cloaking technology. The Federation does not. And they get hailed by the captain of the ship, and he says, you are going to surrender. Like we have caught you in the neutral zone territory. You will surrender as prisoners of war, and then we will tow your Enterprise back to our home planet, where we will dissect it and put it on display to inspire Romulans for generations to come. And then Picard says that would, it's like that is unacceptable. And he's like, I will give you 30 seconds to make your decision. And he goes, I won't need but one. And he's like, surrender is unacceptable. Then Tomalak, the other guy, says, think about the men and women that you would lead and sacrifice by your decisions. And then Picard smirks and says, every man and woman on my vessel would sacrifice their lives if the cause is right. And then he says, the question is, Tomalak, are you prepared to do the same? Are you prepared to die today? And he laughs and says, I'd expect more from you than idle threats. Picard then goes, and you shall have them, Mr. Worf. And then Klingon warships, allies of the Federation, decloak around the Romulans. And then Tomalak gets all pissed off, realizing he's outgunned. And he goes, you will not survive our assault. And then Picard says, and you will not survive ours. Shall we die together? And that is one of the most epic lines, and there's many of them. And I stress this, as much as people are like, Star Trek is dumb, I want you to understand the masculinity in a captain of a naval vessel telling the enemy, we have outflanked you, and if you want to I'm going to avoid swearing, but if you decide that you want to fight, we will both die. Is that what you want? And I love that. I love that. If you think you're going to come at me and my people, I would rather die than let you just take whatever you want. And I love that. We don't have enough of that these days. Because now with the Star Trek garbage that we're getting, it's all this hoity-toity, woke, garbage, feminized trash. And it is unacceptable. For me as a little kid to watch Captain Picard walk up and say, shall we die together? I was like, wow. I'm like, that's what it means to be a man. I would rather lose everything than give you a free shot at taking my people prisoner. And I'm just like, that is badass. And now you watch Star Trek, and it's ridiculous woke trash where the women are like, the Federation is colonial and imperialist and engaged in propaganda. Not even a joke. That's actually from the latest show.
Really?
Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to stress it again.
It's exhausting.
We need masculine culture. We need content. We need narratives. We need stories for young men to be told what it means to be a man. And that is why I am so deeply pissed off about Kurtzman Trek and what they have done to this storied and incredible intellectual property. And I fully understand many of the original series episodes and TNG were very liberal. Bro, Captain Picard literally says in an episode, diversity is our strength. That's fine. As long as there is a masculine military leader saying, prepare for war, we're about to die, and understanding those threats. And for that matter, Deep Space Nine, bro. Man.
Great.
Really?
Deep Space Nine's
Bro, are you,
You're
nuts.
Captain's name? He talks like
Cisco.
this.
So what?
Why does he fake his talking? No one speaks like that.
Bro, In the Pale Moonlight is probably the greatest television episode of television ever made.
DS9.
Which episode is it? Which episode?
In the Pale Moonlight.
What happened was they did Voyager, and the girl was the captain, and it was so cheap.
He did DS9 first, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then,
Cisco, he just talks so weird. He speaks with
he talks like this.
Yeah, like why not just talk
I
normal?
will not allow them to come into my base.
And I think what he did was he mimicked Jean-Luc Picard, Patrick Stewart's theatrical, because he was a Shakespearean actor. So Picard brought that to the stage, to the literally the stage of the
I'm gonna say it again for everybody.
So the other guy just kind of took that weird, boisterous, like that. And it didn't work.
I want to stress this to everybody, okay? Like the challenge with In the Pale Moonlight is understanding the full context of the Next Generation into Deep Space Nine and where we're at. But basically, simple version, because we're talking about a 30-year-old show at this point. Benjamin Sisko he's a military leader. He's a relatively, like, these are liberal people. They are like traditional 90s liberal types that believe in freedom and equality, and presented with the Alpha Quadrant is being invaded, and the Federation is losing the war. And Sisko decides we have to force the Romulans into the war on our side. And then when they say surely the Dominion, who they're at war with, will attack the Romulans after we're defeated. Let's find the evidence. They can't. He goes to Garrick, a former Black Ops guy, who's now a tailor, quote unquote. And because he's not really, right? And he's like, how do we get this evidence? And he's like, let's try. And then he comes back and says, there isn't any, but we'll fabricate it. And then Sisko thinks they're going to fabricate evidence to trick the Romulans, but Garrick actually, the whole plan the whole time was to assassinate the Romulan senator, framing the Dominion a false flag attack to trick the Romulans into going to war with our enemy. Like, think about what that means for a show that was predicated upon this liberal beauty of like exploring the galaxy and diversity being our strength, to outright admit, because the episode is split between Sisko narrating in his personal log the difficulty that he had to come, like the difficult decision in falsifying evidence to try and trick another nation into going to war on your behalf, but recognizing if we don't do this, we will be destroyed. And that is something that I think conservatives need to understand right now, and they don't. They don't get it. So this is like 1998. You have a show that is explaining there comes a time in war where your principles will be tested, and if you stand by them, you will die. Good luck. And Sisko,
how many times? Oh, I want to hear the rest of that. But how many times a false flag actually saved the country?
Probably. But the point is, they blew up assassinating a Romulan senator to frame the Dominion, and it worked. And the Romulans enter the war, and
dude, I play a lot of Crusader Kings,
and the Federation wins.
And I love a good fabricated claim. I mean, you want to take land, get some paperwork filed, make it look like they did something wrong or they don't deserve it, and it's yours.
All right, everybody, we're going to go to the uncensored portion of the show. So smash the like button, share the show with everyone you've ever met in your life. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Good sir, would you like to shout anything out? Would you like to shout anything out before we go?
I mean, if you guys don't follow me already, you guys can follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and I'm trying to start on my YouTube. I just activated a X account, so make sure to follow me there at Grace Unfiltered 92. And I'm just very grateful to be on here and to hear different sides, different opinions. And thank you guys so much for having me on.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, you can follow me on X and Instagram at Real Tate Brown, and I'll be back with you guys tomorrow at noon Eastern for another installation of the Timcast News Noon Live Show. Ian?
I want to remind you, go to Casper.com, pick up this Alex Stein's Booty Juice. It's not that. It's called Big Booty Latina Love Potion. It's the newest Casper coffee. It's delicious. I just had some earlier. And you follow me at Ian Crossland, all on the internet, really. Go to graphene.movie if you haven't been over there yet. Check out the trailer for this new documentary I'm working on about graphene and other nanotech. Pretty badass. See you later.
I am Phil That Remains on Twix. The band is All That Remains. We're going on tour this spring. We're heading out with Born of Osiris and Dead Eyes. We start in Albany on April 29th. You can check the band's music out at allthatremainsonline.com to get tickets. You can check us out on Apple Music, Amazon Music, Pandora, Spotify, YouTube, and Deezer. Don't forget the left lane is for crime.
I'm Carter Banks. You can follow me everywhere at Carter Banks. We didn't meet our goal for Ian to sing tonight, but you can find some of his live sessions at Trash House Records on YouTube. A lot of good stuff. We're going to record a song soon. But anyway, thanks so much for coming out, man. Really appreciated you to come out and talk with us. Let's get to the after show, Tim.
We'll see you all over at rumble.com/TimcastIRL in about 30 seconds.